Cheers, queers! What's on the big gay agenda today, Theora?
Today, we are wrapping up our epic discussions of Blank the series, the show of 2024. Woo!
Woo!
I'm sad to be here. I'm sure you're sad to be here too if you've made it this far, because what a journey.
Oh, we definitely have one YouTube person who is very sad. And hold on. I'm sorry, I don't have your name fully ready right now, but we see you.
We do.
We would restart the show and talk about all this stuff, but we did talk about the music and costumes this time. So, I mean,
an entire episode dedicated to Big Nueng's wardrobe. That sounds like entertainment to me. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so this is going to be our last Blank discussion episode. No matter how long it takes, we will finish episode 206 right here and now. This won't be our last Blank episode. We still have the interview with Wanasoren coming out from our Discord chat. So that will be coming out probably sometime next month because we have to we're getting the transcript so it can get translated into other languages so that it can be more accessible once it's up.
One language, at least.
Well, if we upload our transcript, isn't it make the YouTube
yeah.
better?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. So then it can be more accessible. So it's just going to take us a little bit to get all that together. So we'll have that out next month. And we'll be jumping into Heartstopper next for season 3 because we've covered season 1 through 2. And then we'll be looking for our next Thai girl love show to dive into. And as you can see, when we dive into it, it takes us many months to finish whatever it is we're doing. So choose wisely. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We have some front runners right now. Namely Reverse Ryu and Pluto. But we'll let you guys decide what you want us to talk about. Those are our preferences. Leave it in the comments. And don't worry, whenever fayeyoko are back for whatever the heck they're doing next, we'll be here. We'll be here. So
we will definitely be here. As long as you are here with we will be here no matter what.
We will be here.
We'll be here if you're here with us. So
we'll definitely be here.
If that made any sense.
You let us know in the comments if that made any sense whatsoever.
All right. Before we start.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some corrections / comments from YouTube for what we've done. Okay. Sorry. Let me recenter my brain. Basically, we now have a new section where we talk about any corrections or comments that are relevant to the media we're talking about in the beginning that have been given to us since we previously filmed. So today we have a YouTube comment from Natalie Regina Souza 5126, and they let us know that they do give small individual cakes on birthdays. So that is something to know, and apparently they learned it from Faye's family birthday thing.
Faye.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Why? I've been saying Faye. Oh, anyway.
Okay, so that was in reference, if you haven't remembered, to when the episode where it's Little Nueng's birthday, and she comments when she's alone opening up the present. She's like, well, Big Nueng didn't give me a cake, but she gave me this stuffed animal. So it was in reference to that, because when we were trying to figure out what that meant, I thought it was oh, she didn't feed me a piece of cake, but apparently that is a thing to give little individual cakes. Which is
cute. I was just confused why everyone was giving cakes.
I didn't see, well, the thing is, in the scene, we didn't see anybody giving anybody cake. So it was I was I don't know what they're referencing because we don't, see the cake giving. There was more so just well, her broke ass bought me something. So there's that.
Yeah, true.
So thank you for correcting us on that. That's really interesting and it's super cute.
All right, the next one's also from YouTube, from @harukaru84. The clip of CEO Wan singing the sad song is on the 9-star channel, and CEO Wan has always sang the sad song.
She out here trying to destroy our hearts constantly. That's her mission. Well, thank you for serenading us so sadly, ma'am. It's been an honor and a pleasure to listen to your beautiful voice. So, thank you everyone for your comments and corrections. Please keep them coming. We're all on a journey to learn more and get better at this, so we appreciate all of you for that. All right. So now that our clownery has been commented on, let's jump into the episode. So we're picking up in episode 206 with Little Nueng on the road to recovery. And we open with a brand new day where Big Nueng is helping Little Nueng in her physical therapy, which I enjoy because this is super realistic for somebody who's been bedbound for 3 months. You lose a lot of muscle when you're just sitting around, like literally sitting immobile. So this would make sense. Like it would be very hard for her to like stand on her own or like sit up. It would make her really tired because she has to build her muscle back to just like move normally. Like if you're able-bodied, you don't realize how much energy that really does take and how much muscle that requires to just like hold yourself up and stand. But that would make sense. So in like the scene, she has like kind of like a walker and Big Nueng's like holding her and guiding her while she kind of like moves around. So I love that. Big Nueng is like a superstar in this scene. She's like very patient with Little Nueng and just like being her spotter while she does her physical therapy and just being encouraging and like being a very good partner in this scene. It's really sweet. I love it.
Through sickness and in health.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And meanwhile, though, Little Nueng is also a very realistic patient because she has this I don't wanna like pouting face the whole time because PT sucks. I'm not gonna as somebody's went through physical therapy, it does suck. It's not fun. It's not fun. So she relatable in this scene.
Yeah, I've had to do PT this past year, and I don't know how different it is for I had a concussion, so it's like very much mental rather than physical. And it's so boring. It's just so boring. I hated it.
That's different. I had knee surgery, so I had
Yeah.
physical therapy. It hurts so badly because like you just had surgery and then you have to move around so that you don't build scar tissue so that you're still mobile. It was awful. It was so painful. I hated it so much. It was awful.
Yeah, I know. They were like icing people down after it.
It
like
sucked.
Doesn't look fun.
But yeah, so this I imagine that Little Nueng is like just like exhausted and like you still have to keep doing it. Just yeah, it sucks for the person doing it. And like, so Big Nueng being very supportive and like patient in this is really helpful. That does make a huge difference for the person that's like going through this because like you don't feel like she doesn't feel well. She's still recovering and then has to do this on top of not feeling well. So she is going to be like grumpy and stuff like that. Like that's you know. But it's not fun.
Also, I just thought about she's come so far from like when she was teaching Little Nueng to drive.
Yeah, no, exactly. Who is this patient woman? Like this woman did not exist at the beginning of the show.
No.
Who is this? This is Big Nueng in love. Anyway, it's beautiful. So yeah, and I think that Big Nueng, I think she strikes me as the person that when the doctors are in the room talking, she takes notes and is absorbing every single thing that they say. So when they're like, this is very important that she does this, Big Nueng's like, very important that she does this. Got it. So she's like very like, again, supportive because she knows this is important even though it sucks. And okay, so then when we get to the scene, I assume there's been time jumping from like she woke up to now she's like doing the physical therapy with Nueng. Also, like Big Nueng's in a different outfit, so I assume some kind of time has passed here. So to me, this whole scene implies that Big Nueng, because remember, Sam came with the clothes and then Nueng ditched Sam when the radio show happened. I assume that bag of clothes that Sam brought has been what Nueng has been living off of, and she's been literally living in this hospital since Little Nueng woke up. You can't convince me that she left ever, unless it was like something that really required her to leave the hospital. I assume she's been living there. And, which means she's been sleeping in Little Nueng's room. So, like, that's my fan fiction that's been playing my brain. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this bitch never left the minute she woke up. She wouldn't.
It's not just in her room. It's in her bed, too. Like, somehow they just squeeze in there.
Oh, yeah. I'm convinced.
Like, there's no way that Little Nueng being awake would allow her to sleep anywhere else.
Correct. Yeah, in my headcanon, like, Big Nueng, like, was doing that thing where she was sitting in the chair, sleeping with her head on the bed, and, like, Little Nueng's like, I'm not having this. And then basically it was like, but I'm cold. Like, she would do anything to, like, get her in the bed. And she's like, yeah. She's like, and Big Nueng would grumble and be like, there's not enough room, and blah, blah, blah. And Little Nueng's like, but I'm cold. And after, like, 2 seconds, Big Nueng would, like, try to get in the bed, and then Little Nueng's, like, laying on top of her. She's like, see, we fit. The Poor nurse
I'm
comes in and she's like, oh dear. And
I'm going to yes and your thing here.
absolutely.
So she says that I'm cold, and they just keep bringing in blankets for her, and then there's like 10 blankets on her at one point, and she still looks over at Big Nueng and is like, I'm still cold. And Big Nueng's like, you can't possibly still be cold. She's like, well, I did hear that skin to skin contact would make me warmer.
Or she has the blankets and then she's like, they fell off the bed, and she like pushes them all off. She's like, you won't fall off the bed though. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there's not much convincing of Big Nueng in the scene. She's way too happy and like all that kind of stuff. But they scarred some nurses, let's be honest, in this hospital. Okay. And maybe Chet, which I would find amusing. Okay. So after the physical therapy stuff happens, like more time passes and we finally get to Little Nueng's discharge day. We're finally made it. She can go home. And the entire family and Big Nueng have gathered for this occasion. And it opens with like everybody getting, well, not everybody. Chet and the grandmother are sitting down doing nothing, while Pinga is the one gathering all the Little Nueng stuff. And Big Nueng's like, quote, helping, I guess. And Little Nueng comes into the scene. And what does she do? Immediately clings onto Big Nueng. Like, immediately in front of everyone. And nobody in the room bats an eye. Like, or takes a swing at Big Nueng. So, hashtag progress. We've made it. We've come very far.
I feel like with the grandmother sitting, I have no excuse for Chet. None at all.
No one does.
Chet's just Chet. But with the grandmother sitting, I feel like this is her allowing Pinga to be Little Nueng's mother.
Yeah, that's cute.
Like, she's like, okay, I accept it. I admit it. She's yours now. You get to be her mom. And so Pinga's like, I will do literally anything I can do to help her out.
Yeah, I like that read. And Chet, honestly, the best he can do is just not get in the way. This is him being a good dad. He's not interfering. So that's good. He's not helping, but he's not interfering. So that's better than when he tries to help and makes things worse. So I'll take that. All right. Other thing I want to point out in the scene that I love is, can we talk about how these two disaster gays coordinated outfits for the discharge day? Like, they're both wearing white tops and jeans. Like, they're twinning as they exit the hospital. So there's that. All that's enough is they just have to move in together for real. Yeah. All right. So speaking of disaster gays, so Little Nueng says what I just said. Basically, she's like, "Hey, I'm leaving the hospital so I can finally move in with Big Nueng," because really that's been her dream since the first episode. So she's like, "Listen, I went through actual hell. Can I have my one wish, which is to move in with you?" Like, her persistence is astounding. Truly, like, it's been 12 episodes. She's still harping on the same thing.
Her persistence, but also props to like the production for keeping the same line of questioning from the very beginning episode to the end of the series.
Some things don't change.
Really, it's props to Wanasorn, because I'm assuming Wanasorn wrote all of it.
This is just Yoko. Can I move in now? No, I love it. I love her persistence to this one thing she's been harping on since the first episode. And then, okay, but then where's Big Nueng at? Because Big Nueng, like we just mentioned, has come leaps and bounds since the first episode, whereas like Little Nueng's still fixated on the same shit. And Big Nueng's like, girl, like, listen, we said marriage after you graduate. Remember, you actually are the one that said that, not before. Plus, she's like, you also promised your grandmother you're going to live with her basically on the weekdays. Because, like, again, the key here is that we're rebuilding all the fractured relationships. And so Big Nueng's been doing her part to rebuild the relationships that she fractured in Little Nueng's family. So now, like, Little Nueng also has to do some work here, too, with the parties that have wronged her, essentially.
She's lost 3 months of progress.
Yeah. And everyone in the room is pleased with this arrangement, except Little Nueng. She's like, no, I want to move in with you now. And I assume that they had some conversation, potentially, where they're like, okay, Little Nueng, you're going to live with Grandma on the weekdays, and like your weekends are you do whatever. And like she probably still had like mental brain fog at that point. It was like, yeah, whatever. And then like now like her brain's working better. And she's like, I did not agree to this under the right conditions. What the hell? like when you agree to something when you're like drunk or inebriated, and then like later you're like, I didn't do that. I wasn't in my right mind.
For me, it's when my mom wakes me up and like immediately attacks me with a bunch of questions when I'm still asleep.
Right, exactly.
And
That's
then
what
she's like,
happened.
we talked about it. I'm like, I remember 2 words of this conversation. I have no idea what I said to you.
Exactly. That's been little known because like again, like the brain, like after a traumatic brain injury, it's gonna take time for her brain to also recover. So like I'm pretty sure she was like saying yes to stuff and then was like, what? I would never.
None of it's legally binding yet. Also, I doubt they pinky promised.
Yeah, no. Okay, so then Little Noong obviously is getting upset by this. So the grandmother chimes in and reminds her, she's like, listen, you can go wherever the hell you want on the weekend. And this line comes directly from the book. So the way it's framed in the show is that like everyone's super on board with the Big Nueng, the Little Noong relationship, which was not the case in the novel. And in the novel, basically, it was like a don't ask, don't tell situation. It was kind of how they left it here. Or they're like, listen, you're gonna stay with your grandmother on school days, basically, like Monday through Friday. And they're like, but you're an adult. So this is the compromise, because like everyone sees her as an adult now. So they're like, okay, the compromise is adult, little adult. On the weekend, you could do whatever you want. I don't want to hear about it though. Basically, is what the way they left it. So it wasn't a like spend your weekends with Big Nueng, which is like the implication here. They were just like, do whatever. I don't want to hear about it.
Just kind of like behind closed doors.
It's don't ask, don't tell. Like it's like,
yeah.
I'm not going to ask you what you did. You don't tell me what you did, and we'll leave it at that. Because then I can be ignorant and pretend it's not happening if you don't confirm it to me, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, this version in the show is definitely better because it does show that the grandmother has growth. And okay, so something that I have been talking about like multiple times, like I know time is limited. We even talked to Wanasorn about it, but it still did feel rushed. And I understand like why, because like we needed to get out of the hospital, we needed to move things along. It's the last episode. I don't know if in like for me in my brain it's like they didn't have a conversation talking about all this because like it just still seems out of nowhere. But at the same time, like I understand you don't always need the conversation in shows. And like they did do a great job of showing how this communication just by like without it's like a silent film kind of with that montage. They were like showing the acceptance slowly happening. Chet, we still don't fully know, but
I don't understand him nor care. Well, I think the thing is like again, like they're doing this with time jumps, and like I agree. I don't think it needs to be explicit every single step in the way. So like these conversations are showing that like, hey, over the time they did heal, they came to an understanding, and this is like the wrap up that's basically saying, hey, this happened off screen where we came to an arrangement. Like things are better. So the grandmother, the fact that the grandmother is like 2 days a week you can stay out of my sight. That's huge growth when we know the grandmother is the one who locked Little Noong in a room her entire life and was like, you can't go anywhere without me. I have to vet all your friends. Like, so that right there is the grandmother trusting Little Noong by saying this, like, hey, 2 days a week, you don't have to be under my watch thing. So like, that is big. That's her seeing Little Noong as more of a autonomous person rather than like a thing she's controlling. So while we didn't get the conversation, like there was a lot implied from that line. And we did see like Big Nueng making all the big strives. And so like, again, the implication is that Little Noong's not going to be alone, you know, at Waffle House at 3 a.m. doing whatever. She's going to be with Big Nueng, whom we've seen has gained the trust of the family again by them, again, not having an explicit conversation, but they let Big Nueng bathe Little Noong, which is extremely intimate, and like they let Big Nueng do all the physical therapy, like, you know what I mean? So like they're showing us that Big Nueng has gained their trust, like fully, like with their family member. So I like that it's not explicit, but I understand what you're saying. You know, we gotta wrap shit up somehow.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, or we could just give them another season. But no, it was good. It was a great show.
No, I think it ended really well.
Oh no, it did.
Yeah.
The ending's fine.
Oh, the ending is perfect. I love the ending.
Yeah.
The TV show ending is way better than the book ending. The book is a mess. The TV show is way better. Okay, so let's keep going because we got to get to the epic ending. All right, so like basically Little Noong, of course, this mouse wants all the cookies in the bakery, and they're like, here's 2 cookies. And she's like, okay, well, 2 cookies isn't enough. I want all the cookies. Because like 2 days is never enough with Big Nueng. She wants 24/7, all of the hours, all of the minutes, and the seconds. So, like, let's be real. She was never going to be satisfied unless they let her move in.
But little Nueng, you get 2 days, and a lot of gay shit happens in 2 days.
Right.
So, just telling you.
Gotta make the most of it. Gotta make the most of it. But, and then I love that Pinkfa's like, okay, little Nueng, I don't understand, because you've been with Big Nueng literally every second since you woke up, and you're still not sick of her. And I was like, yeah, girl, like, your daughter's got it so bad. She's never going to be bored of Big Nueng. Like, that's the whole thing. If she didn't have Big Nueng, where would she get cookies from?
That is true. And cookies are the most important food group.
Just in little Nueng's life. All right. And so, like, again, they're being all cute in front of the family, and it's really sweet that Pinga smiles along with the two of them, like the Nuengs. Like, she's happy for her daughter and her friend. And, you know, the fact that, like, Big Nueng is being affectionate with little Nueng in front of this whole family is, like, again, a testament to how far she's come with, like, public displays of affection. So just, like, saying big growth moment for everybody, even though, like, not much is happening in this scene, which is cool.
You know what's kind of interesting? If you think about all the acceptance levels, like, the grandmother technically accepts it, but she's not, like, fully there. Like, she still, like, wants to keep little Nueng at home. Chet's Chet. But Pinga, I think she's, like, fully accepting of them because she sees the happiness. So it's interesting that she's with them. So, like, now they're a family. Like, they're close now. I'm sure that they probably talk a lot now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the grandmother and Chet are on the couch because they're still going to be removed because they don't fully accept.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good read. Also, Chet is just the worst. He doesn't help.
I'm trying to say something besides he's the worst.
Chet's version of helping is just, like, overseeing, which is quote for doing nothing. So, but yeah, I agree with that read. That's a good read. Okay, so speaking of Chet, he interrupts this conversation, because of course he does, to say, hey, well, since you're staying with your grandmother, okay, so head of your family is doing her thing, head of the other family, me, I also am going to do something. So I'm going to drive you to and from your school from now on.
Okay, but you're saying that as a statement. He did ask her this time instead of telling her. He's like, can I? So it's something. I mean, she doesn't need him, but it's something.
No.
And like, this time, little Nueng doesn't argue with him. She was like, I can't get out of it. Like, he's not going to go away. So let me do something that's going to make it in my favor. So she does come up with a compromise.
Yeah, no, she doesn't agree to what he's saying. She barters with him. Well, she doesn't, like, barter. She's like, I will only do it under one condition. You can drop me off, but Big Nueng's picking me up from school.
Which is the way better deal.
Right. Yeah, so her reaction to, like, the two of them driving her to school are very different. With Chet, she's kind of like, ugh. Like, her first reaction is like, I don't want to do this. But then she's like, if Big Nueng picks me up, it's fine. Since you won't let me stay with her Monday through Friday, she can pick me up from school. And then I'll just be there real late. Or I'm sure that's part of the... She's like, oh no, we were at Big Nueng's until midnight. Whoops. I'm sure she had all kinds of schemes going in her brain here. But to your point, I assume that, like, again, time has passed. She's still been in the hospital recovering. People have been coming to see her. I assume that her and Chet have come to some kind of arrangement of what is our relationship going to be. Because whatever the hell that was before, it clearly was not working for anybody. So I assume they come to some kind of agreement off screen and, like, acceptance of whatever the hell they are to each other. So there's that. Because you're right. She can't get rid of him, even though she wants to, but whatever.
Everyone wants to.
Nobody wants him. After Little Nueng suggests that Big Nueng picks her up, Big Nueng, okay, so Little Nueng is like, I only one condition, this is my condition. And then, okay, before anything happens, Big Nueng looks to Chet, okay, and it reads to me like she's silently asking her girlfriend's father for permission, which is like a customary kind of thing. Okay, because Big Nueng is trying to play the role of like this respectful suitor, even though she was not being respectful in the beginning, because their situation was super fucked up with all these crazy people that are her girlfriend's family members. So she's kind of like looking at Chet to be like, "Is that cool with you? I'm not trying to steal her from you. You see her, her doing it on her own." And Chet nods, like he does give her. He's like, "Okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to like." I accept this. I accept this kind of compromise. You can do it. So it's good that like he's not, because what would his reaction have been before the accident? Be like, I'm her father. I'm doing it no matter. Like he would have just inserted himself into this regardless of what anybody wanted. So at least he's also willing to accept what Little Nueng wants and like take the compromise, because like that's not something he was doing previously. He was just like, I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. So like that's also something which is good, I guess.
I think this is like when he realized what life is actually going to be like. Big Nueng. Yeah. This is him seeing that Big Nueng is her person. This is him seeing Big Nueng. Big Nueng.
Oh shit! Hydrate for 5. We forgot for the last time, everyone. Well, not the last time. We'll be back anytime she's in anything. Ooh, that's a cool glass.
Thank you. I got it at a queer Christmas market.
Cute.
Anyway. Okay. So he's realizing that this is what life's going to be like, and he does see that everyone is trying to compromise. I mean, Little Nueng begrudgingly, and only if it benefits her. But
I mean, the grandmother is also a person who never compromised, and here she is being like, fine, I'll get her 5 days of the week, and then you get her 2 days of the week. That's also somebody who doesn't compromise, you know?
Yeah. But like here you can see he's like learning not to push things on people and like actually listen to what's happening, and like the listening. I mean, I don't think we'll ever fully be there, but like we're getting there.
It's better, you know. Work in progress with Chet.
I mean, always. Like this also happened off screen, but like for this one, I'm definitely glad. I don't want his redemption arc. So.
No, I don't need to see his redemption arc. Really, I don't need to see his character growth.
But they like, try to do it in the next part, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm glad it's being hinted at that he's a better person. Well, that's great. Okay. Overall, though, this scene is really great with basically everybody kind of like they're forming kind of a custody plan with Little Nueng. And I think it's important because the scene indicates to me that there's some semblance of like, quote, a family structure being restored as time passed. So like basically Little Nueng, you know, is being seen as an adult, which we've said over and over again, needed to happen with her family members. And they're starting to treat her more like that versus like the child where they impose what they want. They're listening to her in this kind of scenario. All of them, namely Chet and the grandmother, because those are the two that definitely weren't listening to her. And in the scene with Chet too, it's really big because after Big Nueng says, okay, so after Chet is like, yes, yes, you can do that, Big Nueng. Big Nueng then looks at Little Nueng and then she nods. Okay, yeah, I'll take you after school or whatever. So it seems to me that like there's this new family dynamic happening. So not just have we've healed all the wounds of the past. There's change happened, right? So there's a new dynamic that came out of this whole accident. And now Chet and Big Nueng both have more active roles in Little Nueng's life on the family stage. Plus, a lot of these new arrangements discussed here are less restrictive for Little Nueng, and the negotiations include Little Nueng, which is also new. So there's a lot, even in this small conversation, you can see a lot of growth happened in the family dynamic that's ultimately positive and in Little Nueng's favor, which is like been the crux of all the drama, really, is like that reluctance to see her as an individual and as an adult, because she's, you know, she's this basically, if she was the main character of this story, what a story. But if she was the main character, like this would be like a YA novel, really, because she's a young adult. She's a woman like growing into her adulthood in this story, and like a lot of the crux with the family is like they're having a hard time seeing her as a young adult. They want to treat her like a little child, and it's like, she's 20. What are you doing? And that's basically been the whole problem. Yeah, right. They don't know. They don't know what they're doing.
I think I'm actually going to take back what I said about it feeling rushed, because I think in this conversation, it really is having that conversation with everybody. I mean, again, there is subtext, which is probably why I think it was so abrupt because I don't pick up on subtext. It's a thing, whatever. So
You're getting there. You're
but
getting
it does
there.
make
You're
sense.
getting there.
I'm doing so much better
You're
than when
doing
we first started this
great.
podcast.
Everyone, congratulate Kaitlynn for understanding subtext in the comments.
Simplest thing. Anyway. Something that I thought was like pretty cute when everyone's walking out of the room, Pinga puts her arm around her mom, and so you see that the time in the hospital also gave them a chance to reconnect and have some sort of bond again. I do think it would have been better, like it would have been more growth. I don't mean like they should have done this. I think it would have been more growth for them if the grandmother put her arm around Pinga, because that would have meant
oh my god, I need that because I need the Pinga story. I find her fascinating.
I was thinking of that and I'm like, oh, I really, really want that. I want to see her.
I would have wanted that too.
I know. Okay, so like, we're gonna talk about it, but like in the next part, like they do have a video call, but I want to see them together being mom and daughter.
Yeah. I don't think they'll never have that like time back again. They can only like go forward. Like but yeah, Pinga's my MVP for this story. Like she's like the Jim of Blank. Like I really like love her as a character, and I thought she was so integral to the plot. The way Jim from Gap the series is so integral.
Yeah, this only happened during our discussion episodes too.
She's like, MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing like how we grow ourselves of what we think of things as we talk about it for hours on end.
Days, months.
Oh no, I calculated it. Wait for it.
Uh-oh. I'm scared.
But before we continue, we have to interrupt your originally scheduled programming to bring you a few brief shoutouts from our Chaos crew on Patreon. Woohoo!
Yeah, woo! And I have a different camera, so I can't do the heart even if I wanted to.
Oh no! Yeah, that's right! Oh my gosh. Well, you can still do it with your hands.
Can I though? Yay!
Well, I don't know. That's a
Oh no! The Blake miracle. Good to know.
How does that still work?
I don't know. Movie magic.
Okay. For everybody listening, Theora's camera still did the hearts even though she's not even using her built-in webcam. Wild. I don't know how that works.
Who knows?
Technology. We could look it up, but we're not going to.
Absolutely not.
As always, we really appreciate all of you on Patreon, off of Patreon, anybody who takes time to watch something, listen, send us a message on social media. We appreciate all of you. We see all of you. We just love you.
Wait, I need to say something about Patreon to shout them out real quick. So we get like, I don't know, Patreon's like doing some stuff behind the scenes, like as a company to like give you more stats and things like that. And we just got a notification today that like we have one of the most active Patreons on all of Patreon. So like, yeah, so like good job everyone. You guys are like super engaged too, which is really fun. And you guys are hilarious in those comment sections. Yeah.
You know, I love the comments. The comments, every time I get a notification, I immediately read it.
On YouTube too, like not to knock YouTube and Spotify, like all the people who've been like commenting on Spotify too, like thank you all. Like,
yes, if you're listening on Spotify, comment some more.
Yeah,
because they have a chat feature, like a comment thing, and
yeah, that's new.
It's great. Also, you can leave a review too. Just saying. I mean, we can't really respond.
Oh shit! Those. Wait, no, we did get a new Apple review. I just forgot.
We did. Oh my gosh, we're learning so much in this section, guys.
It's our last episode. Oh, I gotta find it. You keep going, Kaitlynn.
Okay, I'll keep talking.
Yeah, you keep talking.
I have been out of the loop for the past 2 weeks because there's been a lot of stuff going on.
All right, I got it. It's from Loves All Fandoms. It says, great discussions, 5 stars. The Blank podcast just adds so much to the overall enjoyment of the series. Thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
We're glad that it adds because it made us love Pinga. Like
yeah, seriously,
came on this journey without that in my brain. And here we are.
Yeah, it's insane. Okay. Well, again, yeah, so thank you. We see everything. Whether we both see it, we tell each other about everything. So eventually we all know, we see everything. Anyway.
Yeah.
shout outs before this gets too long. They're not brief anymore.
No.
Okay, so our Chaos Crew members on the Big Gay Ride or Die tier and above are Angela, Rin T, Natalia, Ian A, Jill L, Regina B, Monet F, Dana, and DG. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Oh wait, shout out to our new $15 member who just joined today, because like they're gonna listen to this, so let's shout them out. Hold on.
Okay, so just so you know, at the time we're filming this to this person that we're about to shout out, you will not be on the graphic because we already did our monthly graphic, but you just joined today.
But I'm shouting you out because you're probably gonna listen to this. Okay, so it's oh god, it's AE Mix New Moon Zone _ multi.
Okay, hold on. Let me see the name because I said it right before. And they complimented me. Let's see if I remember how to say it.
Oh, so it's
I Mix New Monzone.
I Mix, okay.
_ multi.
Got it. I wasn't sure. Kaitlyn's in clutch.
Or I don't think it's I. I think it's A something. But I know the other one is Mon. Anyway.
Got it.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you
for being active and jumping tiers. We still can't believe it. Anyway.
No.
Our drum roll, please, for our featured Big Gay supporter members. Yeah, we don't really want to tap our things because Theora's mic will disconnect and the listeners don't want to hear it. Anyway, so featured Big Gay supporter members are Maddie W, Jasmine B, and Andrus.
Or Andre, I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, but there's an S on the end, so that's why it's one of them.
Andrus, Andre, however you pronounce it. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate all of you.
And if you're still listening to this, make sure you stay around to the end because I have a challenge where you can win a free t-shirt.
Ooh.
Which I forgot to say in the beginning.
Watch like everybody skip to the end.
Well, who knows?
Only the most dedicated will know now.
Yes, because you had to listen to all the shout outs to get here. So props to you.
Correct.
Thank you for listening to them.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
Back to our regularly scheduled gay programming. All right, so while we were shouting out Patreon, some time passed during Blank the series, and things are going back to normal. So Little Nueng's back at university, and Big Nueng is doing her wait by the car, looking all gay and shit, leaning against it while Little Nueng's in school, so I could be the first person she sees when she leaves the building. And damn, does she do that well. Hydrate for that, because I will miss that when it goes away.
Okay. You know, I'm severely dehydrated anyway. I need to do all the hydrating for Phi because I haven't hydrated for Phi in 2 weeks now.
It's been way too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. So Little Nueng comes out with her group, with a new group of friends that we haven't seen. So like, good for her. Not only is she like getting back in the swing of things, she's like making more friends. Like, again, testament to like how I think happy she is and how complete her life feels and all that kind of stuff. She's like thriving basically. And so she's in the middle of a conversation with these people, spots Big Nueng, ditches them without saying anything, and then sprints to Big Nueng with her arms outstretched like she's gonna like football tackle her. Which, fair, yeah. But
we understand.
But also we all understand that Little Nueng is clumsy as fuck. So before she can like actually tackle her, she like trips on her way over to little Big Nueng and like kind of like flies towards her, and Big Nueng like catches her like the knight in shining armor that she is.
Flashback to a previous scene where she did tell her she would trip.
That's what I'm saying. And let us all recall the episode where You Can't Escape Me, that episode in the gallery where Little Nueng was literally staring at a painting and then took a step backwards and fell, and Big Nueng caught her. So like, she's clumsy is the thing. And so, like, she should not be running unsupervised. Although then she's like, oh, I did marathon running. But this might just be like she's still recovering from, like, being in the coma. Yeah. So she's, like, not as strong as she was when she was marathon training or, like, running regularly. So, like, also, like, that could definitely play into this. And she's like, I'll be fine because I'm young. And then she, like, falls. But Knight in Shining Armor's there and catches her.
You were running.
Huh?
I can't believe we never see her running. If that's like such a anyway.
Yeah, I know. That was wild. It came out of nowhere. Okay, so back to this moment. So Big Nueng catches her, and like again, they're like in public, and they get caught up in their own little like love bubble of what's happening. It's like, ooh, yeah, my knight in shining armor caught me, and then Big Nueng's like, not only did she's okay, she's also probably panicking. She's like, oh, thank God, she's not injured, whatever. And then she's like, oh, hi, you're in my arms. This is nice. And like Big Nueng starts to look happy because why wouldn't she be? And it's like they're having a cute little happy moment in public, which again is huge because Big Nueng would never do anything in public. So like they're just out living their best lives now, which is like huge and really great. And they're happy. We made it. Yay!
Finally.
But the happiness doesn't last because, of course, what is the first thing Big Nueng says? She starts scolding Little Nueng. She's like, I can't believe you almost hurt yourself just to see me. What the hell? Like,
she would throw herself off a bridge to see you,
literally. Big Nueng. I know. I'm sorry. And then Big Nueng's like, she's like, I'm not scolding you. I'm just worried, which is true. She's always going to worry. Especially after that accident, she's always going to worry about her. Like, are you kidding me? Like, please.
Oh, yeah.
And so
like, you're not allowed to walk alone at night.
Ever.
And you're never allowed to look at your phone.
Ever.
While you're walking.
Yeah. No multitasking for you, ever. So, all right. So then the Big Nueng's like, okay, let's be normal. And she tries making some small talk about school. But Little Nueng's like, yeah, school's whatever. The most exciting part of the day is about to start now because, like, I get to sleep with you tonight, which means it's Friday. So she's going home with Big Nueng so she can spend the weekend with her. So this girl's like a weekend warrior is what I'm getting from this because weekends mean Big Nueng. And while Little Nueng is saying this, she is looking at Big Nueng like she's a whole ass meal because we know what the weekends mean for Little Nueng. The thirsty bitch is always thirsty.
There's never enough water.
Never. I mean, who can blame her? She spent 3 months in a coma. She's got time to make up for, you know what I mean?
She's super dehydrated.
So dehydrated. So, with that, the Nuengs go back to the Bua Palace, and fanfiction time! So, okay. So I don't know if this is the first week she gets to stay at Big Nueng's, or, like, more time has passed, because what is time? But, okay, so the first weekend where Little Nueng comes back to stay over, does Auntie Nim prepare any special, like, welcome home meal? Does she do anything special for Little Nueng for, like, her first night back after the accident? What do you think?
Okay, so that I didn't read the question correctly. Okay. Why, I don't know. All right, so I read the question as there was a special meal and who made it.
Oh, no. Okay. All right, well, what was your answer?
So my answer to that question was, I want to say that Big Nueng made it, but she wouldn't have left Little Nueng's side. So then my brain was like, maybe she made her dinner and Little Nueng sat on the counter while watching her and just, like, kind of kept pestering her. Even though she could cook now, but she was just going back, so.
Okay, so I could see, like, okay, so instead of, like, so for the first night back, instead of Auntie Nim preparing something, Big Nueng's like, I'm gonna do it. And she's the one that cooks the special meal. I could also see that, because that's Big Nueng would, first of all. But I feel like Auntie Nim would want to be involved, because I feel like she has a special place in her heart for Little Nueng now. I think Little Nueng has got, like, family status, like Bua Palace family status. I feel like
she might have put something in Big Nueng's room
for Little Nueng.
That, like, for Little Nueng, and, like, made the room up so, like, you could see that she's like, oh, this is your room too now.
Yeah, something like that. I could see Auntie Nim doing, like, a welcome home thing. You know what I mean?
You know what? I don't think this would happen, but I want Auntie Nim to just, like, order all of the workers around and then, like, have a whole big welcome home sign with a cake and just, like, confetti.
Something like that. That'd be cute.
That'd be cute.
All right. So that allegedly, according to us, happened off screen. And now it's nighttime, and the Nuengs are doing that nighttime ritual where Big Nueng brushes / plays with Little Nueng's hair. Thanks, Sam. This was all Sam. because she taught Nueng this. And they're in front of the mirror, and little Nueng's like grinning all giddy as shit, while Big Nueng's just like the happiest person on earth, just like, yay, I get to brush her hair. Like, it's very sweet what's happening here. And then little Nueng makes the comment, she's like, why are you looking at me like that? Because Big Nueng, like, literally is like reverently like looking at her, okay? And then we transition to a good mirror shot, okay? Where like they did this before in the beginning of season 2, so good job, season 2 directing. So in this scene, basically, like, the camera kind of comes over them, and like we're looking at their reflection in the mirror. So like mirrors equal a truth thing. So we're getting this big moment of honesty here as like Big Nueng answers this question. What's interesting is that the characters are also looking at each other in the mirror, so it's even more like a double truth thing, which is interesting. Because the last time we did the mirror shot with them, they were looking at each other and we were looking in the mirror, like in 202, I think.
That's interesting.
So this is interesting. So Big Nueng says, like, basically she's in awe that this is all even happening, because those 3 months were the worst thing ever. It was like literal hell for Big Nueng. And she's like, I'm having a hard time believing that this is real and that you're with me and you're awake right now. Because like it was getting real dicey there for a while. So like this is real. Okay, so I assume this is her first night back, just based on this conversation. But anyway, so little Nueng asks Big Nueng, and she's like, well, were you sad? Or she's fishing for compliments this bit. She's like, were you sad or in pain while I was in the coma? Like,
well, I feel like sad and pain is different. Because, like, obviously she was sad. So maybe, like, pain, like, she didn't want her to be suffering along with her.
Yeah,
basically.
Fair. She's fishing for compliments.
Okay.
But Big Nueng sits down, next to her, and looks directly. This is when she like looks like at Long. She looks directly into her eyes, and she then complains, like, "Well, how would you know how sad I was?" But what she doesn't say, but what's heavily implied is, you left me all alone and I was sad, and then you didn't come back to me. And so Big Nueng is complaining at Little Nueng, who was in a coma against her will. I just love the pettiness here. It's like, so funny. How dare you?
Went into a coma.
She's acting really childish, which is really funny, because she's basically just like pouting, it's just adorable and hilarious. She's like, well, you didn't wake up even though I was sad, so you obviously don't love me. Is basically what this conversation was, which is so funny. And Little Nueng's like, listen. It's not that I wasn't thinking about you. I was thinking about you the whole time, which is probably why the coma lasted so long. She was like, listen, I was dreaming about you the whole time I was in the coma. You were sad, though, sometimes. I'm just going to say that, Big Nueng, in my dreams. And then, so then Big Nueng's like, okay, so then you did know I was sad, but then you stayed in a coma for 3 months, which is mean. It's so funny. Oh my god, she's such a baby in this scene. It's so funny. Miss Stoic and put together. Oh my god, so funny.
Yeah, she's earned the right to act like this, because
I agree.
She's dealt with this from Little Nueng. It's about time that she gives it right back.
Right, or getting some role reversal, her being unreasonable. Yeah, it's funny. And but Little Nueng like doesn't. She keeps the ridiculousness going, because they're kind of like flirting at this point, but it's hilarious. And she's basically saying, "Well, Big Nueng, honestly, the coma is your fault, because, like I said, I was dreaming about you, and if you weren't so good in my dreams, then I would have woke up sooner." So like she was having sexy dreams. Let's be real. The whole coma. Let's be real.
Oh yeah. Okay, so she was having a great 3 months. We should not be feeling sorry for her.
Right. So like, okay, let's go back to remember the argument that Big Nueng was having with the family when she's like, her reality is such bullshit. No wonder she's probably better off in her dreams. Meanwhile, this bitch was having sexy dreams about Big Nueng, like right in front of them. So that line is even funnier when you find out. She's like, I was dreaming about you. That was the problem. Love it. And I'm pretty sure Little Nueng is doing this not because A, it's funny, but B, because she's getting a kick out of the fact that Big Nueng is jealous of Dream Big Nueng, which is really fucking funny. Because there's only one person Big Nueng could ever be jealous of, like truly, herself.
But like, how jealous do you need to be jealous of yourself in your girlfriend's subconscious?
Well, Dream Big Nueng kept Little Nueng away from her for 3 months, so it's fucked up. I'd be pissed off at Dream Self too. Like, how dare you? We lost 3 months because of you. You're not even real. Then this conversation transitions from flirting to serious when Big Nueng admits that she's not going to be apart from Little Nueng for that long ever again because, quote, I can't stand it when you're away from me for so long. I missed you. Now, this line was important for Little Nueng to hear because back in 205, during the Couch of Doom scene, Little Nueng asked Big Nueng if she could stand to be away from her for 2 to 3 years. That was the bartering scenario that did not work out. And Big Nueng didn't answer the question then, but like, here's the answer now. Like, that would have killed Big Nueng. Like, she would have hated that a lot. So she finally got her answer. It just took a coma and for her to get the answer.
I mean, that's the overarching fact of everybody right now.
Correct. It took a coma. All it took was a coma.
It took a coma.
It took a coma.
But, I mean, these two in this scene, do they really... They're just gonna give Sam and Mon competition for who is the sweetest.
I'm saying.
Like, this whole thing just made them closer. And, like, they need to be as close as possible. So, like, now they're just, like, even, like, physically closer together.
Yeah.
At all times. So.
Yeah, they're both equally as clingy, which is funny.
Good luck to anyone trying to hang out with the four of them together.
Oh my god, forget it.
Could you imagine Jim with all of them?
I was just like, Jim. Oh, Jim.
T would be like, oh, forget this. Yuki.
No, T wouldn't even bother. He's like, unless we can go to, like, I don't know, play mini golf or something. I don't want anything to do with you guys. Or like karaoke or something. Something where there's an activity where they have to split apart.
Or like there's something else to do except watch these two couples be
Jim
themselves.
Would just be like, tell me about your sex life. You know what I mean? Jim would be like, I mean, you gotta tell me. I can kind of see it on display, sipping her whiskey and shit.
I kind of feel like if anybody listening to this has watched Sex Lives of College Girls, I feel like Jim would be Bella.
Yes. Absolutely. No, that's definitely Jim. But, like, definitely sexually fluid, though.
Yes, that.
Yes, because that's Jim. Jim doesn't see gender. Jim just does what Jim wants.
Well, we haven't seen the new season yet. Maybe. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, back to the scene. So Big Nueng touches Little Nueng's face reverently a few times before she says one of the most impactful lines of the entire series. She says, "Thank you. Thank you so much for making my life complete. I love you." And there's like so much to unpack with just this one sentence. Because, like, again, like, the reason that we have spoken about this show for so long is because these two are the type of, like, relationship where it's, like, they complete each other and they, like, in each other find balance, which was the thing that was missing, right? They both were living these imbalanced kind of lives because of external factors or internal factors, whatever, and now they have, like, completed each other. So I think it's huge that Big Nueng says it. And Little Nueng hears it. And the fact that Big Nueng can say it so easily, like, there's no hesitating, there's no, like, working up any kind of courage to say that. She just says it. And it's just amazing how much growth this character had from the beginning to the end when it came to, like, understanding her feelings, somebody who's, like, never really had them before, like, romantic feelings, to dealing with them, and then being able to communicate them, which is something, like, she also really struggled with. Like, here she is, like, saying, like, this big, huge truth so easily, and it's just, I love it. And it's like that literally is the moral of their story. It's like they kind of completed each other and made each other better and enriched each other's lives, which is one of my favorite tropes. And I'm glad the characters are self-aware that that's what happened.
And she now knows what she wants, which was like a big thing in the beginning as well, because like she was kind of lost.
Mm-hmm. They were both a little lost and like found direction in each other, which again, that's the balance, the completing each other thing. And the scene ends with them basically turning into Mon and Sam because their sweetness, there aren't enough limes on planet Earth for the two of them. It's just, and I love that for them.
We need to have like a lime counter.
I know, for real.
That has to be like an After Dark. Like, how many limes? Like, pick out random scenes.
Well, that's a good idea. How many limes did you give this scene? How many limes did you give this scene? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
We finally made it to part 4.
We made it to part 4. Let's do it. So part 4 time jumps 4 years. And Big Nueng, the narrator, is telling us what everyone's been up to. Unfortunately, we start with Chet. But fortunately, because we get him out of the way and never deal with him again. So Chet is running for governor of Bangkok. And the public loves him because of course they do. Of course they do. So I guess he got everything he wanted in the end. Is how his story concludes.
Okay, first of all, that sucks. Anyway, I want to bring it back to a line that she says. Chet has become a father who is very protective of his daughter. And, like, if this is true, why did this take 4 years? And does he actually accept her right now?
He sucks.
Like, is he protective? Like, I don't understand how he's protective. Because, like, he was technically protective this entire time. But for himself.
The worst.
He's the worst. And I don't trust it.
No, I don't either. But I could see it taking 4 full years because he sucks. I will say in the book, he never accepts it. So that line where, like, in the hospital where Big Nueng's like, are you mad at me? And he's like, I'll be mad at you forever. That was more, like, real in the book because he never accepted this relationship ever.
You know what? Screw you, Chet.
So, whatever. Let's just get past him so we never talk about him ever again. So his goal as a politician is to make society, quote, better. And I really hope he got therapy off screen and so he actually knows what that means. That'd be great.
Yes, like, let's hope he's not trying to ban, you know, the LGBTQ plus
or like
community.
whatever. I could see him being that
hopefully
politician.
He's not trying to turn them into America.
Right. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. So let's hope that's what's happening.
Yes. But Big Nueng says, I'm rooting for him. Okay? I don't think she's actually rooting for him. I think this is saying, I'm glad he is focusing on this now instead of continuously trying to get me back.
And or interfering with my girlfriend's life. That too.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him to do this so he has something else to focus on.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm rooting for him to leave me the fuck alone. I'm rooting for you, Chet. Leave me alone.
We all are.
We are all rooting for you to leave us all the fuck alone. And that's the end of Chet. Let's never talk about him ever again. That's it. Yay! No more Chet. Woo! All right.
Hopefully, I don't remember if I put anything else in here. I don't think I did.
You better not have. Why would you randomly bring him up? That's homophobic, Kaitlynn. How could you?
Okay. It might have related to something. I don't remember. We'll get there.
All right, let's move on to the what's going on with the Little Nueng's family. So it took a horrific accident and Big Nueng's bravery for Little Nueng's grandmother to finally foster a healthy relationship with her granddaughter and her daughter.
Yes.
So,
which I still want to see more of.
Yes, where's Pinga's show? Wadasorn, give us Pinga's story.
Can we? Oh, Jim goes to America, Sex Lives at College Girls, Pinga's her best friend.
Oh my god, yes! Oh my god, yes. That writes itself. That's so good.
And then Big Nueng and Little Nueng visit. Obviously.
Yes, and interact with Jim. And obviously Sam. Sam would be like, I'll go see Jim. Yeah, let's do that. And then Mom would be like, oh my god, Sam, we have to work. Diversity pop beats money. Anyway, that's a shit show. Yeah, that'd be great. I love that. Okay, wait. So back to Little Nueng and her grandmother. Okay, so when it opens, it's basically like the grandmother's in the kitchen, and I guess it's like a weekday, so Little Nueng's like staying with the grandmother. And it's not just that she's staying there trapped in her room like she used to be. They're actually like interacting and like doing stuff together. So the grandmother's cooking and Little Nueng is helping her because, thank you, Auntie Nam, Little Nueng now has cooking skills. Whereas before, she was kind of like getting shooed out of the kitchen and stuff. So here she is like bonding with her grandmother by doing stuff together. And Big Nueng sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, do you think the grandmother was sad that Auntie Nim taught her how to cook? I mean, it's not like she was going to. Or was she impressed? Or I don't know. Or did she just like...
I think she was just like, oh, okay, good. And then just moved on.
Oh, cool, I don't have to teach you this.
Exactly. I think she was like, great, we can just move on to the next step. She's not gonna praise her for shit. She's just gonna move on. Anyway, so Big Nueng, the narrator, notes that Little Nung's grandmother actually, quote, listens to her more, which is great because that's been the problem the whole show is nobody listening to Little Nueng. So I'm glad that Big Nueng even notes that in the voiceover.
It also means that she finally listened to what Big Nueng has been saying this entire freaking show.
Yes. If we had listened more, there wouldn't have been an accident.
If we listened in the first episode, we wouldn't be here right now.
No, Little Nung would be living with Big Nueng like she did in the first episode. That would have bypassed all this bullshit. Anyway, the women are bonding together by cooking in the kitchen, which is really cute. And things I wanted to note about this is that not just are they doing something together that's an activity, but Little Nung is clinging all over her grandmother, like physically in these scenes, which is not something we've ever seen her do with anyone that isn't Big Nueng. And so like her natural state is to be physically affectionate with people, but like I don't think she ever felt that she could really be herself around her family. So, like, if you notice all the scenes prior to this, since the first episode till now, she always really kept a distance from her family. Like, there's never physical affection ever between any of them. And I think that speaks to how safe Little Nung feels now in this house, like her grandmother's house, which always was seen as this oppressive environment. Like, Little Nung was the proverbial, like, princess locked in the tower. She had no freedom. You know, her safe space. The reason she found Big Nueng is because she was looking for a safe space outside of this house. So, like, the fact that she's able to just be herself fully and, like, cling to her grandmother, like, that is huge. And the fact that the grandmother lets her, also huge.
That's true. I do find this interesting because, like, another way to look at it could be that Little Nung's doing this to try and keep a hold of this grandmother because it's almost as if she has the worry in the back of her mind that it could go away. Like, the grandmother used to behave one way and this is different, but what happens if one day she just goes back to old ways? So it's just like, I mean, when she holds Big Nueng, she's holding her close because she wants to be there, but she's also like, don't leave me. Like, I want you with me. So right now she's being like, Grandma, be with me. Like, don't go back.
That's true. That's a good point. Another read, I agree with all that, but another read too is like the classic, I almost died. Let's carpe diem. Like, we don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. So I'm just going to be as affectionate as I can be now because all we have is now. That's like the other way to kind of read that too. That's more like classic of like a character goes through a near-death experience and then comes transformed at the end. So maybe it's a combination of all of those things.
Yeah. And she's like, screw it. I'll do whatever I want now.
What's the worst that could happen? You know, the worst already happened. Like, that kind of like new perspective change because the worst did happen. That's really why we're all here, is because everybody's like, oh, the worst has happened. Maybe let's not repeat history because it was really bad. And bottom line, out of all of this, all the women in Little Nung's family forged a better relationship with each other. All the women are on the same page and formed a family like they should have had since Pinga was pregnant with Little Nung. So, yeah. So then we get a video call from Pinga. A video call. Okay?
They figured it out.
They figured it out. Pinga, better with technology than Big Nueng. I'm assuming from the scene.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's about time.
Yeah. And it seems like this happens on a regular basis. Like, Pinga's not calling out of nowhere because, like, Big Nueng, I think the narrator also says that, like, Pinga makes time to catch up with them. And she also flies to Thailand to visit Little Nung. And I love that Big Nueng comments. She's like, well, the bitch does it so often. I'm like, does she live abroad? Does she live in Thailand? I don't know. Which is such a Big Nueng thing to say. Like, the way she phrased it is fucking hilarious. But this is, like, again, hits the nail on the head of, like, what we kept saying about Pinga over and over again. Pinga, at the end of the day, cared about her daughter. She cared about this relationship. She really wanted it. And, like, here she is, like, making good on those promises because at the very beginning, Little Nung was like, it's weird anytime, like, you come visit me out of nowhere and then suddenly like want to treat me like your daughter when you just ignore me all this. I think that like finally her, like Pinkfoot and her mother got over their bullshit. And like you said, the grandmother has made way for Pinkfoot to be a mother. I feel like that was always an issue. The grandmother's like, stay away from her, you're going to ruin her. So like Pinkfoot couldn't. Now she can. She's like, I want to be her mother. Let me be her mother. And here she is being her mother. Like she's doing it.
That's why she showed up unannounced. Because if she would have said anything to anybody, there's a chance that she could have been blocked. Like,
Yeah,
who knows what connections the grandmother has.
Right.
And it's so nice, like, she's finally able to be in her daughter's life, and she is showing that commitment by going to her, not like trying to fly her out to her to make it more convenient, which Chet would do. He would be like, what do you mean I'm putting in the effort? I've hired a private charter for you to come to see me. But no, it's still her having to take time out of her life for you, because like it sucks traveling back and forth. I mean, like they basically have shared custody. Not okay. I don't want to say it like that because of the child like things, but like she's already going back and forth between the grandmother's and Big Nueng's house, and that's a lot.
Yeah,
but she's willing to make that work because she's like, I need my Big Nueng. Anyway, yeah, it's just great that Pinkfoot is showing the effort. Like this is where you see she always wanted to be her mother.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pinkfoot always wanted to be her mother, but was denied that. And like here she is doing it. And the video call is really cute because everybody seems very happy. And like they just seem like they have finally, all three of them, figured out now in the present, with Little Nueng as an adult, Pinkfoot with her new man, the grandmother as the grandmother. They figured out a way to make it work for who they are now versus trying to recreate something in the past that like could never have been because of the choices that were made. And they all seem very happy about it, which is really, really great. And speaking of Pinkfoot's man, we see the man. We never get his name or any info about this man ever. We just see that, oh, he's a person. So, Kaitlynn, fanfiction time. Who is Fa's man?
You're not ready for this.
Is this like the fanfiction I'm not ready for? Oh, God, I can't wait. I was warned, and now you're all been warned too. We're not ready for whatever this is.
I did not tell her what it was about.
I can't wait. I'm not reading it. I'm just going to sip my drink and
be on the ride. Because there's 3 theories here. Because I can never just come up with one.
Wait a minute, did you make a murder board for this? You probably should have.
I didn't. I did not.
Damn it.
That would have taken way too long, Theora. We would not have gotten that today.
All right, let's hear this.
A couple photos for you.
There's photos?
You'll see. It's
relevant
God. When we get there. But not too many. If I had more time, maybe I would have put more together. But you know what? I would have put like a whole PowerPoint. Maybe for Big Energy After Dark one day.
I'm sure nobody on this podcast, listening to this podcast, has ever thought about who this dude is, and you're like, I have 20 pages of notes. Let's get into it.
When you write fan fiction time in there, my brain just goes.
Listen, the people ask for fan fiction, so let's give them. It's the last episode. Give them the fan fiction.
Yeah, all I think about is like different possibilities. Like that's all that happens in my brain. So I'm like, fan fiction time. I got this.
Let's do this.
All right. So theory 1. His name is Daniel. And he is a pilot or airline executive.
Ooh, yeah.
Because somehow Pinkfoot needs to be able to fly randomly at times to get to Little Nueng.
That makes sense.
Daniel's family is extremely rich and had a private jet growing up.
Yeah.
And his parents would have him fly alone because they didn't really want to deal with him because,
rich people.
They got rich people. We're not saying that all rich people are like this, okay?
But most rich people.
There's a lot like, oh, the nanny will take care of the kids. It's like a common thing that you hear about. Anyway, so they would have him fly alone. So he became close to their pilot, and this sparked his love for aviation.
Okay.
So tragically,
his
parents died through mysterious circumstances.
This is a Chow Planoy novel. Never forget that.
Yeah. Oh, my brain's a dark place. Did we not already go over that? Anyway. And Daniel inherited everything. So now he flies for fun because he definitely doesn't need the money. And someone thought it would be a good idea to put him in charge of hundreds of lives during flights. But he prefers private charters over commercial airlines, though, because it doesn't make him have to deal with common folk as much.
Okay, so he's elitist too. That makes sense. That tracks.
Yes. So I mean, he's more of a douchebag.
Okay.
Okay. So that's end of theory 1. Now let's go to theory 2. His name is Christopher, and he is a tech mogul in San Francisco.
Yeah.
AKA he is mega mega rich. He sold his app at 18, his first app at 18, and it paid for his college. Okay? But he did have to work to get where he is right now. But like he did have help from his parents,
Of
and his
course.
parents are well off, but they value hard work and didn't want their son to become a nepo baby. So they always had this in mind, like you got to work for it. Like we can help you out if you need to, but this will be you. You get there through your own connections. You work hard. Be a person.
Be a person, Christopher.
Yeah. And although Christopher, right? I have too many names. Because the next one I wrote about too much, so I was calling them all that name. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Because I started with that one. Anyway, focus. Although Christopher does have money, he doesn't flaunt it and uses it so Pinga doesn't have to worry about anything. Like he's there to support her. Like if she wants to work, fine. If she doesn't, you do not have to. Which is why she's able to go to Thailand so much. Okay, and then I added this because brain was still running. He also started a charity for the local community to get internet, computer, phones, technology to those without access, and also a side program where they teach local underprivileged youth about tech.
Does Big Nueng take the class?
Comes to visit, and she's like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that."
That's what the fuck. They put like sample classes on YouTube, and Little Nueng's like, "Can you just watch this for the love of God? My grandmother can do this."
Yeah, they come visit, and Little Nueng helps him like record stuff.
Cute.
And then so Big Nueng comes along, and like that's where she actually learns.
Like, can you fucking?
And
learn
she's
this,
like, "Oh
please?
yeah, I knew that." Taking notes.
Like, sure.
Okay. So the next theory number 3, is over 3 pages long.
Oh my god.
We're gonna get through this. There's like a side fan fiction and everything. I promise it's all mostly kind of relevant. So theory 3, his name is Kyle. And
Okay.
Kyle is a homemaker, and he makes killer sourdough bread.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. He is not a freeloader because Pinga deserves better.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so now I don't know why this section came. Anyway, ready? They have 2 dogs together.
Aw, what kind?
Yep. Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
These are the These are the photos. So the first one is from a shelter where they went together to pick one out. And the worker mentioned one of the puppies they had wasn't getting adopted as quickly as they thought because the puppy was so timid. The worker also mentions that the dog was rejected by her mother, so she had to be bottle fed and taken care of by foster parents. And Pinga is immediately like, "Yes, I'll take her."
Yeah, that's trauma.
So this dog is a Havanese dog named Bella.
Cute.
And she's very happy. She's a puppy. She is a puppy still. She's under 1. Okay, so Kyle, while on one of his morning jogs, he bonds with Little Nueng over that, by the way. Kyle runs into a dog walking in the road. And he, of course, has to stop to check on the... It should say dog, but I wrote car.
Car.
I don't know why. I don't know why it says car. Anyway, so there is no microchip or tags, and it looks like the dog is really hungry. So, like, the dog has been out here for a while. So he immediately abandons his run and brings the dog home with him where Pinga is waiting. So Pinga, with, being realistic, says they have to look for her owner, but after a good try and no results, she ultimately says that she can stay. And so this is how they got their mini schnauzer Beatrix, nicknamed B, who is estimated to be 6 years old. and I had to. And if Theora puts the picture up, this was Bristol. This was my
It is
puppy.
Bristol.
Yeah, this was when she, like, one of the first ones to get her.
Aww.
I love her. Anyway.
Cutie.
Just so you know, like, why we're being like that. My dog Bristol, we had to say goodbye to her this week. But continuing. So Beatrix, the mini schnauzer, immediately takes to Bella and basically adopts her, following her and taking care of her wherever she can, whenever she can. And so now the dogs both have a family, and Bella has a dog mom who doesn't reject her. Meanwhile, this is also healing Pinga.
I was gonna say, yeah, for sure.
Watching it. That was the whole point of this. And
yes.
then also, side note, Kyle is allergic to dogs, but still loves them. So they got really lucky that they are both hypoallergenic. So
he also takes a lot of antihistamines, I imagine.
Yes. But no, he's very much, oh, I'm allergic to animals. I will still get my face. I cuddle all up in there.
Of course he does.
Yes. Okay. Continuing. Kyle spends his days taking care of the house and the dogs. And he always finds little ways to surprise Pinga when she gets back from work. Whether it be a new dog trick. Oh my god, what am I
They say a new dog. Anyway. I'm like,
what? No, I don't know. My
don't surprise her like that.
Writing did not match up. I know what I meant, though. Whether it be a new dog trick, like, he's just teaching. He's like Theora's wife. The dog always learns something new.
It's true. We're trying to teach her dog spin. It's not working.
Spin? Aw.
She can do it once, and then she gets way too excited about the treat and won't, like, okay, so my dog will do these things where, like, you only have her brain for, like, a second, and then when she gets way too excited, everything goes out the brain, and so she'll spin once, and then you're like, yay, do it again, and then she's like, how do I get that treat? And then she'll go through her, like, Rolodex of tricks, and she'll be like, sit, bark, hand, and then we're like, no, spin, because she just wants a treat. She's like, what do I have to do? Anyway, it's a mess.
Love that. I love your dog. Anyway. Okay, so other surprises are a new recipe he cooked, flowers, or even once there was a cute little scavenger hunt he set up one day that led to a bubble bath surrounded by candles and a glass of wine. And that was because Pinga was having a really rough week at work.
Pinga definitely deserves Kyle.
Yes. Speaking of which, Pinga is the moneymaker here.
Definitely.
When she was sent to America, she was finally out from under her mother, and she got to explore paths where she quickly took to interior design.
Okay.
And this is where our side quick fan fiction comes in. Her and Big Nueng and her as teens designed an apartment together, complete with layout designs and a big mood board of what the interior design would be.
Oh, that makes sense. And they were architecture. Yeah.
Yes. Brain was going. All right. They were looking forward to moving in together during or after college, but alas, that dream could not be fulfilled. Just roommates, though, if they did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't know.
That's what Big Nueng said. Big Nueng's like, we're roommates.
Big Nueng was like roommates. Pinga was
sure.
Yes, I get her.
Right. Whatever I gotta do.
Okay, so Pinga dug into her design skills and also learned about real estate, where she learned she had a huge passion for fixing things. Because it brought her comfort to fix up houses because she couldn't fix her relationship with her family or her past.
Yeah,
so this way she got to fix the past houses and bring them into something new.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, love that.
So she began buying fixer-uppers, and for people who don't know, those are houses you buy that are like run down, like falling apart basically, to renovate, and you buy it for cheap and then you sell it for a lot more because you renovated and made it really nice. And the places that she fixed, they were highly sought after once she's done with them. So over the past 10 years, she has built a successful flipping business where she has a whole team of people who help her, and she oversees everything, which allows her to fly back and forth between continents. So she's got people doing it while she's gone. But when she is physically in the area, she is getting her hands dirty. Like, she's right there with everybody else. She isn't afraid of hard work. Like, she'll be ripping up things. Like, if she doesn't know how to do something, she asks one of the
got a tool belt, all those things.
Yeah, no, she is like fully in. She's committed. Because when she's committed, she commits hard. Obviously, we see her like she's flying back and forth from Thailand to America. That's a long ass.
That's
flight.
a long fucking flight. Holy hell, yeah.
Anyway,
that's her commitment. She's dedicated, like you said.
Yes. No. So I think this is very plausible for her. Okay. So continuing. Kyle and Pinga are talking about the possibility of having a baby together, but Pinga is worried about if little Nueng might feel like she's trying to replace her.
Oh, yeah, so, she would think that.
With some reassurance from Kyle, she gets the courage to voice this concern to little Nueng, because she's like, I don't want to tell her that, but Kyle's like, it's okay, it's better if you talk to her, and like, all that. And little Nueng tells her mother that she doesn't think that and is excited about the possibility of having a little sibling. But they haven't decided whether or not they're going to, but Kyle did jokingly make her Pinky promise that she wouldn't name the kid after the woman she had a crush on over 20 years ago.
Oh my god. No, she's not going to name it Nueng. She's going to name it Song. Number 2.
But the point is, they really talk about everything in their relationship.
That's good. She needs that.
All right, we're getting to the end. Don't worry. Speaking of talking, Pinga is in therapy every week.
Yeah.
So one time a month, Kyle goes with her to therapy. And then another time each month, they video call in little Nueng, and sometimes the grandmother joins as well. And so, like, they are all making progress, talking through everything and learning more tools for them to all heal from the past and get past everything, basically, to how we got this video call. This was Kyle's idea, by the way. Like, he started therapy as a child and has continued to go. He gets individual therapy 1 to 2 times a month just to check in. And if there's one thing we have learned from media, it's that everyone needs therapy.
Correct.
And that is where our fan fiction ends for Kyle.
Good job, Kaitlynn. So I like option number 3. I think Kyle is Pinga's man.
I wonder which option I like the best.
Yes, I wonder.
It just kept going. I'm like,
well, see, now we don't need the Pinga story. You already wrote it.
I want to see it.
I don't want to see it, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, then Big Nueng will show up again. And the more shows she shows up in, the better. Okay? She's holding all these shows together. Just Big Nueng cameos. I was waiting for her at a fair, and we got it.
Theora was waiting.
I was waiting for Big Nueng. Who isn't waiting for Big Nueng? Anyway, back to this scene. So, okay, before we leave the family, we get this little exchange of, because the video chat is going on, little Nueng and the grandmother are cooking, and little Nueng takes the phone and hovers it over the pot of what they're cooking, and she shows her mother, she's like, hey, look, we're making Big Nueng's favorite dish. Interesting, right? I assume this is massaman curry, unless Big Nueng has a new favorite dish, because time has passed. Who knows? Maybe she has a new favorite dish. But either way, implication here is really sweet. It's that Big Nueng is part of this family, because, right, the whole scene is like the women of Little Nueng's family, like, they have forged a relation, and Big Nueng is included, because they're making her dish, and they're showing Pinga. They're like, oh, we're making Big Nueng's dish. And I assume they're making this probably because Big Nueng's probably coming over for dinner, is my assumption. Because why else would they make this?
I mean, yeah. No, like, we just make this every once in a while.
We miss her.
Like,
also, that'd be cute, too.
It's her favorite, but we don't invite her.
There's gonna be so funny if she video chatted Big Nueng. She'd be like, look, Big Nueng, we're making your favorite food. Bye! That was so fucked up.
But the first time we watched this, I didn't read the name right. I thought they were talking about Little Nueng. And so, like, going back this time, I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
That is adorable.
That's adorable.
Also, maybe it's something that the grandmother cooks that is Big Nueng's favorite. Maybe it's not her favorite dish ever.
That's what I mean. It could also be that, which would also be really cute. That, like, which would also imply that, like, even though Little Nueng is staying with the grandmother, Big Nueng would absolutely do that. She would still, like, come over for dinner, so she gets to see Little Nueng more, and Little Nueng would probably insist on that. So, like, yeah, it could be really something cute. The grandmother makes her. It'd be really cute.
No, like, hold on. Little Nung had like something after school, and like when they got back, it was like pretty close to dinner, and the grandmother just always invited her to stay for dinner, and like
That'd be
they just
cute.
had family meals every night.
Big Nun would
And
love that because she doesn't get to have family meals anymore because
yeah.
her family's all dead except Sam.
Oh yeah, hold on. When she's with the grandmother, that means Big Nung's alone every night.
That's what I mean, unless she's with Sam. Which, like, there's only so much of Sam and Mon you can take before you're like,
That's
I need to be
true.
alone because, like, you guys
I
need to be
mean,
alone because, you know what I mean?
would be Juan Viva, but I don't think she would ever do that. No, because Little Nung
No,
had to be there.
no, yeah. I don't think Big Nun's not allowed to be alone with Juan Viva anymore. Like, she promised her in the bathroom, she's like, no more drinks with the hot doctor. And Big Nun's like, okay, fine. So she's not allowed to do that, unsupervised.
Oh man.
But also Big Nun is the kind of person that, like, even though she's clingy and shit, she still, like, is the introvert that, like, needs time alone to process
Yeah,
shit.
that's
And,
true.
like,
I think
for Big Nun, like, time alone can include Little Nun being there, but, like, she needs time away from other people. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, so maybe she's just like reading or listening. She's probably listening to Little Nung's podcast.
Probably, because she's or she's making plans for the weekend or whatever.
It's like, I want to do this to her and this and this.
Right.
Let's read 50 Shades of Grey.
They do that in the novel. they do that. There is a whole scene where they're watching the movie, I think. Anyway, book is different. Moving on. Okay, so now that we've caught up with the family people, we shoot on over to Folk. Okay, it's been 4 years. School's over. Okay, what's he up to? So he took the Big Nueng avenue to success. Okay.
Yeah, but I want to stop really quickly because when this happens, Folk is introduced as for this guy. Like they don't even doesn't even get the respect to say his name. Best. This dude's been through so much. Like the very least she could have done was like give him a name here.
He's so fucking funny. Something's so changed.
As for this guy who I forget about all the time.
This guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what is this guy up to? So basically, what do I mean by he took the Big Nueng avenue to success? So basically, when we first met him in college, he was in business school. So he was trying to study to be a business manager. And like, he realized at one point that like, that's not what he wanted to do, which was what happened with Big Nueng when she was in her master's. She's like, I don't want to do this. And so like Big Nueng, he ditched that plan and ended up training to become a chef because that's what he wanted to do. And because he had enough of that business background, he ended up opening his own restaurant. So when we open the scene, he basically, it seems like it's like the opening or like maybe it's just a normal day at his restaurant, and Big Nueng and Little Nueng go on a date to his restaurant to like support him, which is really cute and really sweet. And like they're dating really hard in front of Folk. Not that they've ever not dated super hard in front of Folk, but like he's pretty much used to this. And you can tell because he's smiling real big when they're like Big Nueng's feeding Little Nueng in front of him, which is porn, but she's cool
used
with
to
it.
Being invisible in front of them.
He's third wheeled with them enough to where this is super normal. And like, let's be real, he's also smiling because he was like probably the first Big Nueng Little Nueng shipper ever. So like he's like, I've been shipping you the whole show, so like it's fine.
It's not even that he was like shipping them. He's like, oh, these bitches, they just need to get their shit together.
I mean, didn't we all say that? And here we are. But anyway, back to the food feeding. So Big Nueng feeds Little Nueng in the scene. And I guess she got over her food feeding phobia. Like, because here we are feeding food in public. So I guess it's not pornographic anymore. Good for you, Big Nueng. You got over your complex or whatever.
It's showing that she's like accepted herself. I mean, not that she didn't accept herself, but like accepting her life, the relationship.
Yes, her life, yeah.
And it's showing that she doesn't have to hide anymore. Like they're finally free to do what they want. They have no shackles. And they're not bound to the palace.
They're not bound to the palace. And like Big Nueng's not afraid to be intimate in public. That's a whole other thing that was like, she wasn't like somebody who like showed physical affection in public. So like, I mean, this is not a private place. And like, so she's like doing this thing she always viewed as super intimate, like in public, is really big too, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we cut to the most perfect and random scene of all times.
Is it bad if I say it's my favorite scene of the entire show?
No, it is the funniest fucking scene in the whole show because it's so random and so perfect. And that's the scene with Sam and Mon. So we're catching up with them 4 years later. And what are they doing? Sitting on the couch, 1,000,000% absorbed in a Nintendo Switch game. Which, like, when did Sam become a gamer?
Yeah, seriously, like, when did that happen? We've never seen.
So
like,
random.
why is that a character trait that they added?
I don't know.
Is CEO Juan a gamer?
I don't know.
Because this was a scene. Juana Soren told us, I believe, that this scene was added by CEO Juan.
It's not in the book, I'll tell you that.
No, it doesn't seem like something that would be in the book.
It's just really random, and I would love to know what game she's playing.
Okay, so I don't know many games, so my first thought is always Mario Kart. But watch her be playing Animal Crossing or something. Like, I could totally see her trying to be competitive during that when it's supposed to be just like a relaxing game.
But, like, is that a game where you can die? Because if not, then that doesn't fit the scene. That's what I mean. It has to be a show where she can die. So, like, Mario Kart also wouldn't fit.
I used all my brain power for the fan fiction.
Yeah, that's fair. Because, like, my first thought, it's Sam. Mario Kart was also the first thing that, like, came to mind. I'm like, Sam would be somebody who'd, like, competitively be playing Mario Kart. But it's, like, there's death involved. So I was like, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess dying would only be, like, falling off a cliff and they just put you right back up.
Right. You don't ever actually die. You just restart.
Darn.
Yeah. So, like, it could be, like, OG Mario or, like, some, like, you know what? It's Sam. Sam would go all out. It's some RPG game where she's, like...
It's Flappy Bird.
No. Kidding. Isn't... it's The Last of Us. She's playing The Last of Us. That's something Sam would do. You know what I mean? Something, like,
is The Last of Us on the Switch?
No, it's not. It's PlayStation. But something along those lines. I don't know video game consoles enough, but, like, something like that where it's, like, intense and she's, like, intensely playing this thing and is really good at it freakishly because it's Sam, right? So that's what Sam is doing. And Big Nueng, the narrator, opens a scene where Sam is absorbed in the video game by saying, even the cake can't compete with Sam and Mon. And on cue, Mon walks in with a piece of cake and sits down next to Sam. I love everything about the scene. It's so great. And Sam does not break focus from the game. Sam is in this game. She's trying to kill the zombies or whatever. And Mon notices that Sam is super into this game. So she smiles and asks, what game is this? And while grabbing the Nintendo Switch and, like, trying to pull it away from Sam. And Sam is playing, like, the handheld version, not, like, playing, like, a controller on the TV. She's got the handheld version. And Mon is actively asking her this question while pulling it away from Sam so she can see it. And rightfully, Sam, who's absorbed in the game, starts panicking because she's like, Mon, no, don't grab it away. I'm going to die. You're going to screw up the game. So Sam, like, being the good gamer that she is, like, pivots out of Mon's grasp and, like, never once losing focus on this game, right? She's like, she's in it to win it. And Mon is... This was so funny. Mon is undeterred by Sam's behavior. Like, a normal person would be like, okay, I'll leave her alone. But Mon's like, no, I'm going to try harder. So she, like, again, tries to get Sam to include her on this game she's playing. And she's like, no, let me see for real. Sorry.
This is where the bonding with Little Nueng happens. Because Little Nueng taught her the persistence of, like, just and playfulness to get to Sam. Because I feel like we didn't, like, really see, like, going after in Gap. But I think, like, Little Nueng and Mon definitely, like, bonded. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that's what this is implying. Anyway, so, like, okay, so Mon tries again. And she, like, pulls the game away from Sam. And then Sam takes her eyes off the game for 1 second to argue at Mon. And Mon's got the game now. And she's looking at it. And then she goes, oh, you're dead, and smiles.
The line delivery from this part
It's so
is just
funny.
so perfect that it's
so
what
funny.
makes this scene the
It's so
best scene.
That scene is so
It's just like
funny.
the you're dead. Like it's just the way she says it. It's the best thing ever. Let us know in the comments if you liked it as much as us, or if you think we're nuts, because
I think
it's
it's
just
so
so funny.
funny. It's so
It's
funny.
so
No,
random when you're here for the Nungs, but then you're like, then you get this scene, and it's just like you never expected to get an update on these two.
first of all, it's not even an update. The update was they're the
It's
same.
not.
Like that was the update, and then you get this scene, and like the scene is funny to me because it's relatable. Because Sam's like, "What the hell?" Like she's like, "Literally, I told you, do not. I'm playing. Leave me alone. Like I'm trying to play this game." And then Mom's like, "No." And then like literally is like, "Oh yeah, you're dead now because I interfered." Like it's such a like if you've ever played video games, like it's a relatable thing to be like, I was playing that and you just took it away. And it's a very them thing because I could see Sam randomly becoming obsessed with video games, like and just like being 100% about it. And Mon's just like, well, we do everything together. I want to play with you. And Sam's like, you can't. And then she's like, yes, I can. And then she's like, oh wait, we're dead now. And it's like, oh great, it just doesn't work out.
Here's what happened. This is how Sam got into video
So
games.
funny. It's so random.
Okay. So Jim bought a Switch for her kid.
There it is.
Not Big Nueng. Oh my gosh. Sam came over to visit because Jim probably was like, I need a break. I need some wine.
Definitely. Jim definitely tries to rope the friends over there all the time because she's had it with parenting. Yeah, for sure.
So Sam sees the game and the kid teaches her, like shows her it, and she immediately like they offer her to play one thing and then she won't give it back. Yeah. And Jim's like, you have to give it back to the child. It's the only thing that keeps them quiet. And then either Sam or Mon, Sam, or like maybe even Jim is like, I will buy you a Switch. And like a Switch comes in the mail the next day. And Sam's like, yes. And Mom's like, no.
Okay, yeah, and then that's how you get the scene. It's like it's also that thing of like pay attention to me, not the game.
Yeah.
Okay, which is ultimately how this ends. So then Sam understandably is upset because she's like, what the hell, Mon? And Mon's like, oh no, you can't play the game anymore. This is something Little Nueng would absolutely do if Big Nueng randomly became obsessed with a video game. Like Little Nueng would ruin the game and be like, oh no, what are you gonna do now? She's like, how about I entertain you instead of this game? And Sam's like, you better fucking entertain me, you just ruined my game.
That's why I think that Little Nueng and her talked, and she's probably like, Sam's been on this game so much, and Little Nueng was like, all right,
here's what you do. Use your sexuality. And that's what Mon basically does in this game. Her cuteness and sexuality to like smooth this over. And then like she takes responsibility for entertaining Sam ultimately. And of course we get some super cute and really gay forehead touching because of course we do. They're women. That's what we do.
They're women.
No, literally. Every movie or every show with queer women, there's always forehead touching. Always. Always. Are they really gay if there isn't forehead touching?
I don't know.
The answer is no. Anyway, so last but certainly not least, we catch up with Big Nueng and Little Nueng. Because it's their show. We gotta end with them. So at this stage, it's been 4 years. So Folk graduated, and also Little Nueng has also successfully graduated from university. And we catch up with them when we see Little Nueng's graduation photo, and it's Little Nueng and Big Nueng. And Little Nueng's in her like graduation uniform, and she's like over Big Nueng's shoulder and like kind of hugging her. And I have to say, I appreciate that Big Nueng dressed up really gay for the graduation photos. It looks like the outfit she wore in the family photos with Song and Sam and the Grandman, where she has the leather jacket on and the white shirt. Is this her family photos outfit where she's like, we're going to professional photos. Let me get my jacket and my white shirt and I'll go. That's what she wears, I guess, when there's family photos.
That or did Little Nueng Photoshop it?
I'm kidding. No.
I'm kidding. But there's no turning off Big Nueng's gayness.
Oh no, she keeps getting gayer. Even in the end, let's keep going because there's more gay stuff that she does. So the photo is hanging very prominently in the Nueng's family beach house, which is where they are. And I assume they're here like on holiday, just the two of them after Little Nung's graduation to just like kind of celebrate everything. That's just the two of them. Because I imagine anytime something big happens in their lives, they want to privately celebrate things together. They probably did the family celebrating with everybody else. And now it's like, it's just us kind of thing. And I do like the transitioning of the camera work here because, like, the way the scene is shot is it's Little Nung looking at the photo and being like, "Yes, we made it," and then she turns and looks at Big Nueng, and the camera like focuses away to Big Nueng. So I like the way they do that transition. It's really clever. And Big Nueng's on the couch on the phone doing business stuff, and I noticed this time when I watched that Big Nueng has new rings on her fingers, which is really interesting, and I never noticed them before. So maybe she had them, they're just new to me, but they're on her right hand, and one of them is like a heart, which is really cute. It kind of like, it's like a clotter ring looking thing, but it's just one heart instead of like two on the hands and all that stuff, which is really cute. And it's on her right pointer finger, and I assume Little Nung picked this out and had her wear it there probably because of cheeky reasons. And then on her right middle finger, it's a ring that almost looks kind of like a flower a little bit, or like a sunburst. I couldn't really get the details of it because it's kind of fuzzy for me to look at it. But like, again, I imagine these might have been gifts from Little Nung to like kind of balance out the gifts that Big Nueng has given her that we've seen like 4 years prior. So like the 4-leaf clover bracelet and like the phone keychain. I wonder if these were like gifts from Little Nung perhaps, because like Big Nueng's not going to buy herself a heart ring. Let's be honest. I feel like this came from Little Nung, you know.
That's a Little Nung thing.
Right. You know what I mean? And they're in her style because she's worn rings before. She likes like silver or platinum rings. Like she doesn't go for like gold, but that's kind of like her style. And they're very pretty plain looking, not super gaudy or anything like that. They're very Big Nueng, but like Big Nueng's not going to buy herself a heart ring. I feel like Little Nung bought it for her. And then was like, wear it here because I said so. And it's funny to me. Okay, so I'm convinced that, okay, to your point, this is where I had the note. I'm convinced that Little Nung and Mon hung out so much off screen that they now share a brain cell because Little Nung decides it would be an amazing idea to sit on the back of the couch and lean over into Big Nueng's face and annoy the shit out of her while she's on a work call. Which is what's literally what Mon was doing in the prior scene with Sam. She's like, let me see, Sam. Everything's on fire now. Thanks, Mon.
It could also be, like, for Sam and Mon, that Mon's always trying to do work and Sam does it to her. And like is trying to annoy her. And she's like,
literally
I'm trying to keep our business running.
It's literally diversity pop. That is our headcanon about diversity pop. That it's all Mon, because Sam never actually works. Yeah, oh yeah, Sam is always like distracting the shit out of Mon. So honestly, yeah, Mon is justified in annoying the shit out of Sam when she gets a hyperfixation, which of course is not work related, because why would it be? It's Sam. But Big Nueng is work focused. She's like, this is my job, please stop. But okay, unlike Sam, Big Nueng can actually multitask. So she manages to shush Little Nueng while taking care of business at the same time, because Sam's brain can't. It's one focus, it's all or none with Sam. She can't multitask. Sam's not a multitasker. And I just imagine this is literally what Big Nueng's life is like the whole time, which is why she's so good at it. She's always doing work stuff, and then Little Nueng's like, love me, and then she's like, I'm on the phone. Like, I'm sure she had practice, to be honest. So what's your excuse, Sam? You've been living with Mon. They've been together for how long, and like, Sam's not good at this? I think to your point makes more sense that it's the other way around usually. It's Sam annoying Mon. Yeah. And side note, Little Nueng has the biggest puppy dog energy of all time. Like, look at how big her smile is while she's pestering Big Nueng on a work call.
Oh, she is so happy.
She's so happy. Okay, so Big Nueng manages to take care of business, and then after ending the phone call, she very nicely whines to Little Nueng. So she's like, I was on a work call. And like, she uses her cute voice, which is adorable. That's like the default voice now for talking to Little Nueng. Well done. And Little Nueng whines back. She's like, we are in the Isle of Lesbos to relax, not be on work calls, which like a valid point, but also like she owns her own business and like you can't like control what people call you, like if it's important. But they don't fight, which is good. They just kind of like, it's cute banter. And then Big Nueng's like, okay, you're right. We're here to relax. So let's go right now. Let's relax immediately. Right. Like the way she just like steamrolls with this. She's like, relax right now. Let's go. And she tries to like launch herself off the couch and like drag Little Nueng to go. And Little Nueng doesn't budge because she's like, first of all, she's like, where's this energy coming from? You were just on a work call and now you're trying to like steamroll into the wind or like whatever the hell you're doing. And like also like, where are we going? We're already like, we're in the beach house. Like, what are you doing? But Little Nueng doesn't know that Big Nueng has big plans for the Isle of Lesbos, and she's very excited about it, I think is what's happening here. And Little Nueng's just like, what is this? What is this? That's not what I meant. We just drove 3 hours or 6 hours or however long it takes here. I forgot. Nancy said it and I forgot it. It was in a comment. But she was like, calm down. Big Nueng, what is this? Then they fall into this very fun, like, flirting game where Big Nueng's like talking about relaxing, air quotes, whatever that means. Take it as you will, but by the tone of this conversation. So Little Nueng, while she's confused, Big Nueng clarifies. She's like, well, let's go somewhere to relax. And like, insert seductive pause. And then she's like, or we can relax right here on this couch. And then Little Nueng likes the second option and basically starts undressing Big Nueng with her eyes because obviously. So Big Nueng is like, perfect. And she's all smug and shit. And she's like, well, I'll let you decide what we do. So like, seduction move aside, because duh. I love that Big Nueng leaves it up to Little Nueng to decide what she'd prefer. She's like, here's some options, like, you decide. We go, we stay, like, what do you want to do? So it seems like this vacation that they're doing was like mutually planned kind of trip. And this conversation just shows, again, the balance in their relationship and how that really solidified over the 4-year time jump. Like, it's Big Nueng's house, right? I mean, they're practically married at this point, but like, it's Big Nueng's house. Like, she's still the one in power. She's still the one with the job, like, because Little Nueng just graduated. So like, she still is the more powerful one traditionally in the relationship. But like, you see here that like, it's not a factor really. They're still very equal, and that if anything got better over time, you know?
Yeah, they're finally talking and not deciding for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they've always talked.
Right. I mean, it's true.
Like, yeah, like this is the best show that they actually talked.
They talk so well.
Yes.
So well. Okay, but also like, I'm sorry, Little Nueng's face. When Big Nueng's like, I'll let you decide what you want to do. Her face is just like, I'm gonna do you. Like, that's what it says to me. Like, I'm just gonna eat you like a snack. Like, look at that face. I love her. Her and her thirstiness. Some things never change, and that's fine, girl. We're not asking you to change whatsoever. You be you. That's beautiful. So Little Nueng decides in that moment to challenge Big Nueng right back, which is hilarious. And she's like, basically insinuating like, oh, you think I won't, quote, relax with you right here on this couch? Is that what you're implying, Big Nueng? And it's like, Little Nueng, sweetie, no one is questioning your thirstiness. Like, no one. Not a single soul. No, you've been quite transparent since the very first episode, and no one is. We know.
No one watching is questioning that.
They also is like, I know you'll do it.
Family's a different story, but we all know you will.
We know. Ain't no secret. Ain't no secret. Okay, then we get this really awesome transition that I love, where Little Nueng, who's sitting on the back of the couch now, kind of like leaning into Big Nueng, does this thing where she kind of like falls forward towards Big Nueng's lap and like twists like 180 degrees while she's in Big Nueng's arms. So Big Nueng like kind of like catches her like as she's falling, and then like, so they're kind of facing each other when she like kind of has her in her lap with her legs hanging over the back of the couch. It's this really cool transition that they do, and like, good job, guys. Love it.
I wonder how many times they had to practice that.
Right?
It was really smooth.
It's super smooth. I love it.
Also, Little Nueng can try all she wants to like be the flirtatious, like dominant one here, but Big Nueng always knows how to flirt.
Oh my god, yeah. Please. Should you just accept that?
She's literally just did it.
Okay, so after this little power move from Little Nueng, Big Nueng goes back to all the sweet talking. And she starts like tracing Little Nueng's face, and she's asking like, well, are we gonna stay or are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? Like, what did you decide we are doing, Little Nueng?
Continue.
Are you thinking of the song? Is that what that line was?
Yeah.
Should I stay or should I go now?
Yeah. Should we stay or should we go? But you didn't say it your sentence fully, so it doesn't make sense.
All right, and then Little Nueng launches up and kisses Big Nueng, and I think what happens is they stay and then go. So both. Little Nueng chooses both, because if you give her one cookie or another cookie, she's going to choose both cookies because it's Little Nueng.
It's both,
it's
unless one
both.
option's really bad.
Right.
I mean, but why would you give a choice between a bad option and a good option?
I know. Big Nueng only has good options now.
Unless Big Nueng's trying to negotiate with her, and it's like, give her a bad option and a good option that I want her to do.
That's true. I think those days are in the past, though, Kaitlynn. Okay, and so while this kiss is happening, this is a slow motion kiss, which means it's a core memory moment for Big Nueng, because their lives are about to change, okay, when they go. Big Nueng knows that. So she's soaking it all in. Because, like, also, like, the thing with this is, like, finally all the pieces are falling into place. Like, we've defeated all the family members, and Little Nueng graduated. She's an adult now in the eyes of the family and, like, society, because she's out of school. So, like, she can move out of her grandmother's house now, and it wouldn't be weird. And, yeah, so things are moving. Okay. Okay, and then when I screenshot this for the episode, I did notice something I didn't notice before. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when they're doing the kiss, it looks like production put a table underneath Yoko's legs, like that are hanging over the couch. For like her, she's more relaxed.
Yeah, so I paused on it. It looks like it's just the couch. I think it has like a bigger back to it. Because like it's the same color as the couch.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and it's very close to, like, you see the curve there. I think the back is just like higher.
It's flat.
And, like,
okay, cool.
Thicker.
It looks like a table. Yes, I was like, that's weird.
It's a flat. I don't know if you like. Yeah, because
it's not a couch. So, yeah, I can't see the back of it. It's not what I was picturing in my head, but that makes sense. It's more like square-like.
She's shorter, so it's the lower part of her calf on it, so it's not going to bend down.
Right. Yeah. All right. Never mind. So let's move on. So then we crossfade from the Nuengs making out on the couch to the beach. And they're walking hand in hand along the shore, just like smiling, relaxing at the beach. And Little Nueng's kind of like taking it all in, and Big Nueng barely looks at the scenery. She's just looking at Little Nueng, while also hiding her left hand behind her back.
My question is, was she hiding her hand behind her back from the moment they left? Because how would Little Nueng not notice that?
I don't think Little Nueng would notice, because she's like, ooh, because her right hand is holding Little Nueng's hand. That's all she cares about. I think if Big Nueng wasn't holding her hand, she'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you being weird?
That's true.
Also, I don't think Little Nueng knows what's about to happen, or never in a million years would predict Big Nueng would do this, but here we are. So, okay. So eventually Big Nueng stops in the middle of the beach, and which confuses Little Nueng. She's like, okay, why did you stop? So Little Nueng's cheeky ass is like, are you tired already? What an asshole.
So we're going back to the running scene.
Yeah, we're going back to oh, you still don't exercise, so you're tired? And Big Nueng's like, girl, my walk from the bedroom to the end of the Bua Palace to like exit is just farther than this beach. Like, come on now. Like, her house is so massive. She's like, she does quite a bit of walking, even though she's not a marathon runner. Okay, she's like, what the fuck? But apparently age jokes are still fair game at this point, which I'm going to point out because that doesn't eventually change. And Big Nueng still doesn't like them. She's like, oh, the age jokes again. Okay, whatever. But to Big Nueng's credit, okay, she doesn't dwell on any of this. She gets right to the point of, like, why she stopped and, like, why they're outside, quote, relaxing. So she asks Little Nueng, she's like, give me your hand. And what does Little Nueng do? Exactly what she did in 202 when Big Nueng's like, give me your hand when she's going to give her the bracelet. She does the palm up thing again. How many gifts has Big Nueng given her that, like, are jewelry? And she's like, can you not give me your hand like that? Like, flip it the other way. Anyway, it's just as she asked for, she's like, okay, here you go. Like a dog. That was so funny.
Like a dog.
That's what she said the first time. She's like, I'm not a dog. So at least Little Nueng doesn't say that. But anyway, it was really funny. So these are like kind of like parallel scenes to me. So we'll kind of like talk about this a little bit. So the similarities and differences in from 202 when Big Nueng gives her the bracelet to now are interesting. So In 202, this was Big Nueng giving Little Nueng a gift for the very first time. It was the first time she ever like gave her something out of the blue, right? And it was a physical, like, it was the bracelet. It was a physical token of her affection. Also, the first time she was ever kind of like gifting her anything that shows she cares. And this was like the quote, "Good luck on your test" bracelet, right? Mm-hmm. And in this scene, when Big Nueng first does this for the very first time, she's pretty nervous. And she kept her distance from Little Nueng. Like they were like many steps apart when she was like doing this. Like they weren't like very close physically. And Big Nueng, again, is one of those people, especially at the beginning, where like she had a hard time like explaining things like with words. She's more of a, I'll let my actions speak for themselves and you fill in the blanks kind of thing. So in that exchange, she didn't really talk a lot. She mostly just like gave her the bracelet, and that was kind of the end of it. And then she's like got embarrassed and was like, "Go back inside." And that's when Little Nueng did the sneak kiss thing. But fast forward to now. Okay, so what happens now? Big Nueng still looks a little nervous, and I think she is. Obviously, this is a big thing to do, even when you like know the answer is yes. It's still scary to do this, but somehow in this scene, Big Nueng seems a lot more sure of herself when she's like doing this, because like she wants this really big thing that she's giving Little Nueng to like go well, and like she's invested in this, right? And also in this scene when she's giving Little Nueng the gift, they're physically a lot closer to each other than they were in the other scene when Big Nueng did this for the first time. She's like practically in Little Nueng's space when she like presents the rings to her. And I love the way Big Nueng does this, because she doesn't like give it to Little Nueng, like physically hand it to her and just be like, "Do what you want with that." Because the first time she gave her the bracelet, what did she do? She didn't say anything. She just put the bracelet on Little Nueng's wrist and that was it. Okay, here she presents them to her, okay, to let Little Nueng see them. And she doesn't say anything. But instead, she shows her both rings, not just the one she's gifting Little Nueng, it's also the one she's going to wear. So she like lets Little Nueng process what's happening, okay, which also smart, because a big moment and Little Nueng doesn't know what's happening. And so she's like, "Oh, that's what's happening?" Like,
did she show both rings though?
Yeah, they're both in her hand.
I only saw like the one in her hand. Like I know they're both in her hand, but I didn't know if did we get a shot of her showing both? Because
isn't this it? Is that just Little Nueng's ring? I thought there's
just Little Nueng's ring. No, that it's because it's Little Nueng's ring is split. It's like two different ones, because she puts that on her finger. We see it in the same shot, and then she's like, "And then this ring is mine."
Oh, it looks like there's. Are you sure? Because it looks like the big ring.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I guess I'll go watch it again, but I thought it was that.
No, I don't think Little Nueng's ring does that. Okay. I think she's holding both rings. Because if you go down like later, like look at Little Nueng's ring. It's not like, it's so narrow. And like,
oh, okay.
She's holding both rings.
Okay.
It's like Big Nueng's ring is like closer to Little Nueng, and then Little Nueng's ring is like jutting behind it. She's holding both of them.
All right. Sounds good. Ignore what I said.
Okay. All right. And then once Little Nueng processes what's happening, she looks up with Big Nueng at this huge like smile on her face, because it's like, this is the equivalent of, "Oh my God, it's happening," right?
Well, her face also kind of looks like disbelief. Like, oh my God,
is this really happening?
No, like, it's really, like, this is all I ever wanted.
Literally. All I ever wanted. The NSYNC song. Yeah. I want you back. Oh, God. Anyway, back to the scene. So another key difference with this scene is that Big Nueng versus the bracelet scene is that Big Nueng talks while she's doing the gift giving. So that's huge. Again, she's not just letting this was like 4 years ago. She would have showed her the rings, and that would have been the end of it. But Big Nueng does talk, okay, while she does the gift giving. And she admits that like she doesn't like doing these kinds of things, which is true. Again, she's always been more of a like my actions speak for themselves kind of thing. And she's not the type of person that does grand gestures or like is somebody that gives extravagant gifts. That's not really who she is. Like, remember the bracelet? It was like more about the symbolism of the bracelet versus like this big extravagant. If this was Sam, okay, and Mon had a test, Sam would buy her like a Porsche or something ridiculous where you're like, what are you doing? Like this power move kind of gift? Like Nueng doesn't do that. Nueng's more like, it's more about like the thought behind it than like the actual like physical object or like whatever. Cause like wedding rings are pretty expensive. So like that also like Nueng giving you something that actually has a lot of like monetary value is like something she doesn't, I assume doesn't normally do. Right.
Probably.
I think also Nueng is saying like, she doesn't normally do like big romantic things because like this is the part in the proposal where like you're supposed to profess your undying love and like also hard, you know, this is hard for her to do. This whole scenario is like outside of her comfort zone basically because she's an action person. And but ultimately I think what this boils down to is that Big Nueng doesn't know what she's doing. It's like, again, like you don't practice this, you just do it. And she's like, I don't know what I'm doing basically. So she's kind of like talking out of her ass a little bit in this moment. And Little Nueng calls her out. And she's like, Big Nueng, am I supposed to just propose to myself? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? Like, should I put the ring on? Like, what's happening?
Is this really ring? Showing me this ring? Is this ring for Sam?
Right. And like, she's like, I'm gonna need words from you, Nueng. Like, are you really gonna make me put the wedding ring on, like, you know, the engagement ring on by myself? Like, come on, Nueng. And which, okay, the fact that she says that is, quote, you're going to let me put the ring on by myself? That's the question. So, which, okay, if Big Nueng is nervous about actually doing the proposal, which is a normal response to doing this, like, Big Nueng, Little Nueng basically just admitted, my answer is going to be yes to the question that you have not asked me. So, like, am I supposed to put this on myself? Like, right? So she's basically telling Big Nueng, I'm going to say yes. Which, like, okay, after everything they've been through, who is even questioning what the answer is to this question? Like, nobody, like, they're the people who never really talk about their relationship, like, directly. Like, it just progressed the way it progressed, and they went through all the stages just kind of naturally without having, like, explicit conversations all the time about it. So, like, the will you marry me thing, I feel like never really had to be said. Like, it was always going to be yes, right? But I think the fact that Little Nueng says yes without saying yes, basically gives Big Nueng more courage to complete this grand romantic gesture that's hard for her to do, that's making her nervous, basically. So she does, like, flip Little Nueng's hand over, because Little Nueng, you're always giving her the hand the wrong way, and then she flips her hand over, she's like, for fuck's sake, and then puts it on, because, like, she still has the palm out, she's like, you're gonna make me, like, Little Nueng.
You think they ever have a conversation like, when I ask for your hand, can you
stop
like,
doing that?
Put it the other way?
Can you do this, not this? Yeah, exactly.
She's like,
calm
but
down.
I'm not a dog. I'm
not
a dog, though.
Okay, but this is really cute. So once Big Nueng starts putting the ring on her finger, that's when Little Nueng starts crying, because, like, wow, it's really happening. Like, it's really cute. And that's when Big Nueng's like, okay, but I have this other ring too. And so this is the one. She's like, this one's mine. Okay, and then she asks Little Nueng, can you put it on for me? So instead of being like, am I supposed to do this myself? Like, be all cheeky and shit. She's like, she asked her directly. She's like, can you put it on for me? Which is so cute that she asked for this. And again, I love that she got to the point where she can ask for big, scary things that she obviously wants this. And if this was Big Nueng 4 years ago, she would have struggled to ask this question and just, like, give it to Little Nueng and be like, your turn. Or, like, you know what I mean? But she asked, can you do it? Can you do it? Like, that's so cute that she asked that.
That's a really good point.
It's so cute.
This is also her making things equal. Like, because she could have put the ring on by herself.
Right, she could have.
Like, this is balancing the power and control in the relationship. Because, like, as you said, she does own the house. Like, she's bringing the money right now. So this is her showing, like, no, like, we're equals. I'm not controlling everything.
Yeah. And again, like,
for Little Nueng.
Yeah, and again, like, for Big Nueng, it's more about what it symbolizes versus, like, what it is. So, like, it's a symbol of, like, their equal partnership. And that's what she wants. She wants the equal partnership with Little Nueng. So So Little Nueng does it. She puts the ring on Big Nueng's finger, and Little Nueng starts, like, sobbing, tears of joy, because finally, she's been waiting for this since she found out Big Nueng can cook. Let us all recall, okay, when Big Nueng cooks for her for, like, the first time, and she's like, wow, you can cook? After I graduate, we should get married. What's happening right now? Little Nueng graduated. And what does Big Nueng do? She's like, yeah, let's get married. You just graduated yesterday. Let's do it now. Because Big Nueng remembers every fucking thing this woman says. Everything. She always files that shit away. She's like, you need something to hug? I got you. I'll get you a stuffed animal when I'm not around. And then she's like, oh, you want to get married after you graduate? Boom, here's engagement rings. It's just...
She's going to give her the world.
Yeah, literally. It's awesome. Okay, but let's talk about their rings for a second. All right, so I assume these are platinum bands because Big Nueng's loaded. Let's be real. And also, like, it's her style. She seems to like silver, white gold, platinum, whatever her... I don't know what the metals are made of, but like she seems to like that aesthetic in general with her rings. And these are engagement rings. You know, they're supposed to be enduring of time, things like that. So I assume it's platinum because it's Big Nueng. And Little Nueng's ring is cute because it's got like one line of it is like wrapped with little tiny diamonds. So like, again, these are like very classy looking rings. They're not flashy. It's not like 1,000-carat diamond or whatever the fuck. Like, they're very classy looking. It's very them. Very them, the rings.
Yeah. I don't remember the rings in Gap, but I feel like I think they were more showy.
They were. They had the classic big ass diamond on the band. Yeah.
That's what
it's Sam. That's Sam versus Nueng. Yes,
it makes sense for them, but I these two can just be, and they don't need anything extravagant, which is amazing, and I love it. I love it for them because they're both couples are being themselves, and you just see the difference. Like, they're both happy with what they have. And these two are just like more laid back, and they're just like, let's just be.
Yeah, so I think the good on wardrobe costume designer for the rings, because to me these are perfect, because for these two characters it's never about extravagance with them. It's not even about the rings themselves. Like, yeah, I think that Big Nueng got a good quality metal because it's about what this whole thing symbolizes, which is a lifetime together that's not going to fall apart or anything like that. So hence, like, a medal that'll endure time and things like that. Like, and she got the diamonds for Little Nueng. It's very much in their styles, and it's not flashy because it's about what it means and it represents, not necessarily what it looks like. Okay? Because they're the type who'd be like, I'd marry you with paper rings, right? By Taylor Swift. That's them. Like, I feel like if they would super do that, but Big Nueng would be like, I'm not wearing a paper ring. Fuck that shit. Because how are we going to swim in the ocean? So let's get actual wedding, like actual metal rings, Kaitlynn. Okay, so after the ring exchanges, they do some well-deserved gay staring because they earned it. It took them so long to get here. Gay stare all away. You earned it, ladies.
I'm just picturing them in bed, just staring at each other, like basically having a staring contest. Who breaks eye contact first? You make dinner.
Little Nueng would break eye contact. She'd be like, "You're the better cookie." Oh no, Big Nueng's cooking. Oh no. Okay, you won. Good job, Big Nueng.
No,
oh
no, whoever loses, cook dinner.
All right, then that's motivation. All right. So while they're staring at each other, I have to point out that Little Nueng is still wearing her good luck 4-leaf clover bracelet. She never took that shit off, which is really cute. She's still wearing it.
Because then it would be bad luck, Theora.
That would be bad luck. And later, much later, we get to see her phone. Or actually, in the scene with Pigfoot calling, she still has the keychain on the phone too. So, like, all the gifts that Nueng gave her, like, she still uses them to this day, which is very sweet. And after this moment, Big Nueng gathers the courage to actually propose with words. Even though Little Nueng said yes, like, she already said yes by accepting the ring and basically asking the question. Like, Big Nueng still does it. She still uses her words, which is good on you, Big Nueng, but also, like, Little Nueng deserves to hear the proposal. Like, she's been waiting since the first season for this, okay? And truly, I think Big Nueng wants to say it, even though words are scary. So Big Nueng tells her what I've been saying. Basically, this ring symbolizes her promise to love Little Nueng, to be by her side, and never leave her. So all the things they've, like, struggled with, basically, she's like, I'm yours forever, is basically what she's saying. And naturally, Little Nueng starts bawling her eyes out. Because, like, who can blame her? She finally gets to hear everything she wants to hear and, like, is getting the ring. So, like, this is real. It's not just, like, an empty promise. It's, like, a real promise, right? Once Big Nueng finishes speaking, Little Nueng very quickly echoes that promise right back. She's like, yep, me too, yes, like, immediately. and then says, repeats the words right back to her. And Big Nueng's like, BB, because, like, again, she deserves to hear it back from Little Nueng, which is really sweet. So finally, we've made it to the point where, like, Big Nueng believes exactly what Little Nueng says when she is honest about how she feels, because, like, here's Little Nueng, like, literally saying, like, I'll never leave you, I will always love you, that kind of stuff. And, like, Big Nueng just smiles, like, she just believes it, versus, like, we spent a whole show basically her being like, but does she mean it though? Like, so, like, I'm glad she finally got to that point where she can, like, accept Little Nueng's love, which was hard for her to do for, like, a while.
And now we finally won't be walking away from each other anymore. We're all glad that's over.
Of course we are. I mean, they'll still fight and shit because that's what people do. But, like, yeah, I'm glad it's not, because I don't believe what you're saying fully kind of stuff. So, like, we came to a place of acceptance with how everybody feels, which is really great. And so, they both just kind of take that in and smile. And then to make this legally binding, Big Nueng initiates a pinky promise.
Yes. Get your pinky promise shirts now on bigayenergypod.com.
Yeah, it's legally binding.
It is.
And it's really cute when Big Nueng, like, presents the pinky. Like, Little Nueng's face is like, oh, we about to be married for real. Like, she's like, ooh, you're starting the pinky. It's always Big Nueng. Like, Little Nueng did it once, and then Big Nueng's always been the one initiating the pinky promises, which is so fucking cute all the time. So Little Nueng's like, that's how I know you're serious. There's a pinky promise. Not the rings. It's the pinky promise. And then they make this officially a marriage in the eyes of our Lord and Savior, lesbian Jesus, by doing some super sapphic forehead touching. Okay? Because that makes it lesbian Jesus binding. And if you don't know who lesbian Jesus is for some reason, if you're out there, that's the nickname for Hayley Kiyoko. If you weren't aware of that, like, for some reason fans started calling her that and she just goes with it, and there's fan art everywhere. So that's not to Hayley Kiyoko. That's who we're talking about when we talk about lesbian Jesus, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't know that before all of this. So
I thought that was common lesbian lingo. Apparently not. That's who we're talking about. We're talking about Hayley Kiyoko. Side note, my wife's new friends have a painting in their house of Hayley Kiyoko as lesbian Jesus, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. We love her. Okay, anyway. So then Big Nueng surprises Little Nueng by kissing her in public, right as the song perfectly hits the line, my forever love. So hats off to the editor for that choice, because well played.
Great job.
So good.
Wonderful.
Then we get the marvelous clasped hands transition and time jump 16 years into the future.
Okay, now talking about wonderful. This is a beautiful transition.
So good.
Props to production here, because this is seriously, like, a great use of this technique, and I'm just so proud of them because they didn't even try to add a crossfade here too, because, like, you could have, like, done it and then, like, try to crossfade while doing it, but they did it beautifully.
It's so good. It's so good.
A+, no notes. I love you.
Good job, Blank. Seriously, give production some awards. They do such a good job with this show. All right, so yeah, 16 years later. So now we're like 20 years from when we started. Okay, give or take some time. And Big Nueng and Little Nueng are back on holiday in the Isle of Lesbos. And in those 16 years, Big Nueng upgraded to an even gayer wristwatch. So, like, when we first see her, you just start on her hands because gay, and then move upward, and she's wearing an even gayer wristwatch. It's like, how? She managed to get gayer off screen.
That's her destiny, to be the gayest.
Oh, no, wait. The camera work is very female gazy. We'll get there in a minute. But, like, this, damn, Big Nueng. Like a black band. Like, it's even gayer than her other wristwatch she's been wearing the whole damn show. Props to you, ma'am. And she's in her cursed white button down, which is not cursed anymore, because, like, her life is exactly what it should be. So, we broke the curse, everyone. Yay. Huh?
She's took back her power.
She took back the power.
White button down.
That's right. And so, all right, so where are we at? Big Nueng and her really gay watch are out in a lounge chair, chilling, facing the ocean, when some rando woman walks by. And the rando makes 3 seconds of eye contact with Big Nueng and then smiles before walking on down the beach kind of away.
But, like, who was that? Like, that was so rare. I was trying to figure out because it's cut in between them. I was like, was it one of them? But they're right there. What was this? I was so confused who this was. I was like, do I know this person?
You
Why
do not.
are we here?
Jealousy. We're here
Okay.
because of jealousy.
I was like, why are they relevant? And I was like, maybe it's showing that Big Nueng's comfortable being herself in public and people can see the Nuengs together. Or is it Jim?
Is Jim throwing a rager and this rando is trying to find Jim? That makes sense.
No, I think this is Jim.
This is Jim?
Just randomly. She just goes on and checks in on all the lesbians.
I feel like Lil Nueng would comment because Lil Nueng is watching this exchange. Okay. Then the camera cuts to Big Nueng, who's like chilling in sunglasses, just like staring towards the rando. And like, without the scenes that came after this, I was like, this bitch is asleep. Like, there's no way she's not asleep right now. Because, like, when does she wear sunglasses? Like, usually her sunglasses are on her head. This means she's asleep and, like, pretending. She's like, yeah, Lil Nueng, I'm here, but she's asleep, right? So, Lil Nueng, okay, comes out with a bunch of snacks. And, of course, she noticed the whole 3-second exchange with the rando and is immediately jealous of this woman. And she's like, wow, Big Nueng, I was away for like 3 seconds and you started like cheating on me with some woman who's walking down the beach. Like, it's like, Lil Nueng, what the hell, girl? That woman stared and was like, okay, and kept going. And like, oh my God. The way she like immediately jumps on this is so funny. And like, for me, I'm like, is this what their marriage is like anytime they leave the house? Like, you know what I mean? Where Lil Nueng's like, why are you staring at her? It's like, oh my God.
I feel like yes, but it's probably in a joking manner.
For sure, yeah. But I also can picture Little Nueng being one of those wives who's like, well, the servants are not allowed to be too attractive in the house because she'll get jealous. She just strikes me as that kind of person, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Little Nueng decides to like, okay, I'm gonna like be clingy and shit because I'm feeling insecure. So she lays down with Big Nueng in the chair that's next to her, and then it's like, okay, let me see if you're really looking at that other girl. So she takes off the glasses because she's like, how dare you? I fuck somebody else in front of me. And like she takes off the glasses and the Big Nueng's asleep because she's taking a nap, because of course she is. That's something she would so do at the beach. But also, this proves nothing because the time has already passed since the rando left.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, also, you lift the glass, like your eyes don't just stay in one place.
She could have just closed the anyway. Big Nueng was definitely asleep because she doesn't care and about other people. But like, this was hilarious.
Also, she's tired.
Also, she's fucking tired. Like, she don't give a fuck. So yeah, Big Nueng is like, listen, girl, I was napping because, like, again, that's what she does on vacation. A Little Nueng's like, well, to our point, you have no evidence that will actually hold up in court that that's what you were doing, but I will graciously give you the benefit of the doubt. And it's like, girl, you took the situation that was nothing, turned it into something, and it's like, I'll be the bigger person and let you off the hook. Like, wow, what logic? What logic? I love it. It's so big of you. It's good to see you've grown in the past 20 years. Okay, and can we also like, okay, so Little Nueng is being all like jealous and pouty and shit. And can we appreciate the fact that it's been 20 years and Little Nueng still pouts to win arguments with Big Nueng? It still works. And this is Big Nueng's fault because she enables. It still works. Yes. Big Nueng enables this. Exactly.
Okay. You can't just start something and like try to change it later because they'll always expect it. So exactly. The pouting always has to work now.
So funny. Okay. So then we move past the jealousy that Little Nueng invented. And then Lil Nueng's like, okay, well, I left because it's snack time. Let me feed you fruit, because that's why I left. I left to get you food. And Big Nueng grumbles because it's Big Nueng, and she's like, ugh, I'm at my age. Do people really need to be feeding me? Like, basically hinting that like I'm not an invalid. Okay, I'm not incapable of feeding myself. I'm not that old. Is basically kind of what she's saying. And so this is a hint that like, okay, it's 20 years into the future now. Big Nueng is like, what, 50s, 60, going on 60. She was 36 when we started.
56. Yeah.
So she was like 56. She's getting up there, right? And so I think this is the part in the relationship where Big Nueng is starting to feel older and is starting to get insecure about herself and her age, and like potentially the age gap stuff is going to make her insecure. I feel like yeah, they've been together, but like I feel like a part of her will kind of like feel insecure about that from time to time. But here's the growth. Little Nueng tells her, "You're not that old. You're still as beautiful as you've ever been for me," basically. So finally, it took 20 years for Little Nueng to stop doing the age jokes. So yay, that's great.
How many arguments did they have about the age jokes before she stopped saying them? That's the question.
I think it's not really about that. I think that it's like, remember when they were on the couch and Big Nueng was really insecure about their relationship? This was before Chet caught them kissing. And Little Nueng's like, here's what our life's going to look like. I already know this. And she was basically like, at one point, I'm going to have to take care of you. That's the way this, you take care of me now. I'm going to have to take care of you in the future. They're transitioning into that phase of their relationship. That's what this is kind of showing. And this is Little Nueng being the one to reassure Big Nueng when she's actually getting insecure, because she actually is getting older at this point. And I think that, it's like the midlife crisis thing when you kind of get to like in the other phase of your life where like death is closer than like birth, and you're like, oh shit. Like, I think Big Nueng's starting to get into that phase of life, and Little Nueng is being her support system. Like, so it's like, it's not funny anymore because it's becoming a reality for Little Nueng. So I think that she recognizes that Big Nueng's going through this, and that's why she says it. She's like, no, you're not. Like, nothing changed for me. It's kind of that thing. I think Big Nueng will always be kind of insecure about that. So I like that, Little Nueng matured, because what? She's like 40, no, 30. She's 30 now. Little Nueng?
No.
When we left her, she was 22.
22. So yeah, so it's 38.
She's 38, yeah. So she's going into her 40s. Big Nueng's going into her 60s. So anyway, so I do love that, because like they're transitioning into the roles are reversing in the relationship, and you see that it works for them still. But also like the sentiment here is that like no matter what, for Little Nueng, Big Nueng is always the most beautiful person in her eyes, always, no matter what. Like, it's never about the looks. It was always about who Big Nueng was, really, to her. So I love that hasn't changed. Okay, so Big Nueng is very pleased by this, and so pleased that she fully conquers her fear of her eating phobias. It took 20 years, and her eating phobia is finally cured. And she eats the berry right off the fork that Little Nueng is offering her, like all seductive and shit. So like, she's like, if it's porn, let's make it porn. There's nobody here, Big Nueng. There's nobody here.
Except that random person. That random
person's probably like, get a room. Like, she comes back, and then Little Nueng chases her away. That'd be so funny. In that case, it was Jim. Jim would be like, gay, and then like runs away.
No, I feel like it could have been Jim, and like they would just ignore the fact, like Big Nueng wouldn't know she was there, and Little Nueng would just still be like, "Oh, you're looking at her."
Yeah, she would still do that. Jim would play into it. She'd be like, "Of course I'm looking. She's into all these sisters. Let's keep it real."
Jim would take like not anyone, but like she keeps her options open.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jim's had a crush on Sam for like ever.
Yeah.
Nueng's the upgrade. So of course she's into Nueng. Like, duh. Nueng's the upgrade. So yeah, Jim would sneak by and be like, looking good. Anyway, Little Nueng chases her. That'd be really funny. Okay, so anyway, so food porn, Big Nueng has leaned into it fully. So it took 20 years for Little Nueng to stop with the age jokes, and it took 20 years for Big Nueng to get over the food porn thing. So that's great. Good for them. But what Big Nueng has not gotten over is when Little Nueng calls her cute. She gets embarrassed immediately. It's like, girl. Again, no one's around. Why are you embarrassed?
No, yeah, it's just, she's like, I'm not cute, I'm hot.
I know, exactly. Baby tiger.
And then she asks Little Nueng, doesn't she feel embarrassed? And I'm like, Little Nueng couldn't be embarrassed by Big Nueng. She'd just give it right back to her. So
yeah, no, never. So yeah, what Big Nueng is saying is like she basically Little Nueng's like, you're the cutest person in the world, basically. And Big Nueng's like, don't you get embarrassed like being direct, I think is what she's saying about your feelings. And it's like never, like you said, exactly. And like, okay, so Little Nueng still has some work to do in like the PDA department, but overall, like, here we go, everyone. We're making progress. Big Nueng and Little Nueng they're out doing their thing. I'm happy for them. And basically, like, she's like, do you care that, like, we're being romantic in public? Because, like, we're women, is, like, the other implication. And Little Nueng's like, bitch, it's 2044, or, like, whatever time it is. No one cares if two women are married in Thailand. Which, yes. If in 2044 in Thailand, nobody will care because they can legally be married in Thailand based on the way the time jumps happened. Because the laws will have gone into effect. So they actually would legally be married if we were like on the current timeline trajectory. So nobody would care that you were married, ma'ams.
It's true. Congratulations, Thailand, though. We can't say it enough. You shall be getting our visa applications in 1 month.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Little Nueng's like, listen, I'm not concerned about people seeing us together. The bigger concern is how jealous everyone is of me. Because I'm married to the hottest woman on earth, and I always have been. And it's like, yes, this is the exact energy you should be bringing into a marriage. Good for you, Little Nueng. And also, can we comment on the fact that let me get the shot of her saying this. There's a pool behind where they're sitting. So Big Nueng's family beach house has a pool, okay? Outside when you go onto the patio, there's a pool. Then you walk and there's the ocean. So, like, we all know the family trait is when you're sad, you stand by water. That's what you do. So I love that they're just like, the family's probably like, listen, if you're too tired and too sad to make it to the ocean, we have to put water here. So you just stumble outside and be sad. The sadness
makes it sadder because you can't make it all the way to the ocean.
I know.
Because you're so sad.
You're so sad.
Like, I hope they never have an argument that bad where Big Nueng can't make it to the ocean. Because that's some 106, 201 shit here.
Oh, I'm not saying the Nuengs will get into a fight like that. This is Nueng's family beach house. So, like,
the family's like, we know.
And Sam, like, the grandma probably installed this shit. She's like, I'm not walking my ass out to that ocean, put the pool, right? This is on her. They're like, whatever, grandma, I guess.
I'm not thinking in front of salt water. I need fresh water.
Right, it needs fresh water. Like, okay. Anyway, so back to the Nueng. So Little Nueng pivots the conversation to the first time they ever met, okay, and says, like, because she's basically saying, you're the most beautiful woman ever, basically. And she's like, since the first day I met you, my heart almost popped out of my chest. Let us recall also when Little Nueng was on the radio confessing about the first time they met from her point of view. She said, she described that feeling the first time she saw Nueng as love. She's like, oh, this is what love is. Okay. So that was the feeling. It was the heart popping out of the chest. And then Big Nueng starts to protest this. I think Little Nueng was like, let me just paint the picture for you. And she started reminiscing about the first time they met. And, well, not really the first time they met. It's the first time they interacted is actually what we get to see, not the first time they met. But we get to see it, which is super fun. So what do we see? Big Nueng is at the art stall, okay, where we first met her in season 1. And she's super focused on drawing whatever the hell she's drawing. And then Little Nueng walks by the art stall. And then the camera mimics what Little Nueng is seeing when she sees Big Nueng. And what does the camera do? The camera does some female gaze shit, okay? So what does it do? It starts by focusing on Big Nueng's arms. That's what you see first. Her arms, her tattoo. And I'm sure you'd see her hands because gay, but you can't because it's obstructed by the canvas that she's painting on. Okay, so you see her arms first. Okay, this is what Little Nueng's seeing. And then looks back a bit, and then we see her face. Okay, this is female gaze shit. Because of course you're gonna know, you're like, ooh, forearms, a tattoo. And then you see her face. Like, that's what Little Nueng's seeing, okay? So gay.
Beautiful as always.
So gay. If there's ever a doubt Little Nueng was a raging lesbian, here you go. That's how she sees Big Nueng. It's so funny. Okay, then we cut over from her like lesbian lingering to actual what Little Noeng is doing. And Yoko does this really good acting choice where she kind of like puffs out her chest a little bit really kind of quickly to show you the heart popping moment that she's having when she sees Big Nueng, that like feeling of love or whatever. So good job, Yoko.
I'm really glad you pointed that out, because then I noticed it. And like, yes, great job, Yoko. It's can't believe people underestimated her.
Yeah,
People,
it's annoying.
not us.
No, never.
Never.
No. Yeah, her acting choices are very good, especially her physical acting choices are very, very good. Okay, then Little Noeng and her audacity bravely approached Big Nueng and asked how much for a drawing. And she's so brave because, like, who the hell? I would never have the courage to do this because, I mean,
no.
oh my god, no, it's so
Oh,
intimidating.
no. You stare as long as, like, is, like, socially acceptable, and then you, like, walk away, and then you double back after, like, a couple minutes, and, like, you don't do it as long, and then you just kind of, like, I'll go. Because you don't talk to her.
No, how would you talk to her? So intimidating. She just does it. And then, okay, so Little Noeng asks the question, how much? And then, like, how much for a drawing? And Big Nueng slowly looks up at her. Okay, and I imagine internally Little Noeng is screaming, oh my god, she's looking at me! Meanwhile, Big Nueng notices the school uniform. I'm pretty sure her brain is like, well, this is a kid. This kid ain't got no money, so I can't charge what I would normally charge. I'm going to charge less, but also I'm broke and I kind of need money. And I owe Sam like 60 grand. So then she's like, how about 100 baht? Because I think she's like, this is a kid. So
either that or she's subconsciously thinking that this girl is cute. Like, she doesn't know it, but like, she's like,
oh, she definitely subconsciously think I'll get to that in a second. But like in this assessment, she does look down. I think she notices the school uniform and then is like, this is a kid. I can't charge her what I would normally charge. So like 100 baht, which is like barely anything, right?
Yes.
So I think that's why she's wearing a uniform. She's like, all right, it's a kid. Fine. So to Little, she's like, I would have paid way more than that. It's a low price to stare at you. So great. So then the money exchange happens, and afterwards, like, Little Noeng sits down and Big Nueng draws her, and there's so much staring that happens here from both ends.
But like Little Noeng's smile, like she definitely knew right away.
Yeah, definitely.
But the question now is, did Little Noeng know she liked women before Big Nueng, or did she just process everything very quickly when she saw Big Nueng for the first time?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, based on the writing of the novel, it's like, for both of them, they're like, I didn't know what love meant till I met you. So I assume she didn't. And then met Big Nueng, probably had this exchange, and then left and was like, I need to do some research. And that's probably when she bought Pluto, is my assumption. Which we still don't fully know what Pluto is about. We're watching Pluto. We still don't know what it's about because this show is Satan involved. It's so good, and just like I don't know what's going on ever, because it's just the way they tell the story from the show. At least I've heard it's very different from the novel, but the show, I love it because it's very much like they feed you little pieces of information so you can't fully know what's going on. It's great. But anyway, we have no idea what's going on. We still haven't met Satan, so we'll see if we ever do. Don't tell us. Don't tell us. We're on the journey.
We keep telling people not to tell us, and then there's nothing about it.
I know it's in the novel because Little Noeng told us so. So if we don't see it on the show, we're going to go read the novel so I can find it. But anyway, so back to this scene. So then we cut from Little Noeng to Big Nueng, and Big Nueng is drawing Little Noeng. Okay, we start to see like the picture starting to come together, right? So to me, this picture reveals Big Nueng's subconscious, to what you were saying, okay, of like her evidence of her initial attraction to Little Noeng. So what's going on in the photo? Not the photo, the drawing. Okay. In the drawing, okay, it's not done. Keep that in mind. But the most detailed part of Little Noeng at this stage of the drawing that we're seeing is her eyes. Okay. And when we cut to her,
she had to draw without the glasses on. So like
the glasses are on. The glasses are on.
But like as she's drawing, she sees her without the glass. I'm just saying.
Okay, so keep in mind, the eyes are fully done. They're fully done. And now she's working on the smile, okay? So let us go back to the radio show when Big Nueng was saying, giving her version of this story, right, that we're seeing. Okay, what did she admit? She was like, it was her eyes and her smile. That's what drew her in immediately. So this is their first time interacting. This is the first drawing that Big Nueng draws of Little Nueng. The first time she's really staring at her. Okay, and what's the most detailed part of the picture? The eyes and the smile. So to me, it shows immediately this attraction was mutual. It was just subconscious for Big Nueng, and it was very much Little Nueng recognized, oh, I'm attracted to her, like immediately. But Big Nueng doesn't realize it on a conscious level, but subconsciously you can see that by the drawing and what she's focusing on in the drawing. So like it was mutual immediately. All right. So of course, this is Little Nueng from 20 years ago. So this is the bitch with all the audacity in the world. So she's emboldened by this and she's asked, sister, what's your name? And she uses fee, which is that honorific that means older sibling, okay? And Big Nueng's like, sister, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like, bitch, what? He just looks appalled. And Little Nueng very confidently does not read the room. And she's like, yes, I said what I said. Which I love. Because again, her audacity, right? And then she's like, I'm Anung. Okay, she gives her a nickname, right? And then she's like, what is your name? Like, she's trying to be like, who are you? Can I get your phone number? Can I get a key to your apartment? Like, she's leading up to those things, right? But she's like, we gotta start with the name. Big Nueng, being Big Nueng, avoids the question and says, I'm way older than you. Okay, first of all. So sister, fee, not the right honorific you should be using here. Also, I don't know you. What is happening? And Little Nueng, from day one, does not care about their age gap and just keeps asking and whining until Big Nueng caves and says, my name is Nueng. Everyone calls me Kun Nueng. Okay. And Little Nueng is so enchanted by this person, okay, immediately, that when Big Nueng says, everyone calls me Kun Nueng, Little Nueng's brain, I'm pretty sure, is like, I don't want to be everyone. I want to be exceptional. I want to be special. So she immediately, without missing a beat, says, I'm going to call you Our Nueng. And Big Nueng stops drawing to look at her. Because what she's saying is like, well, I'm going to be close to you. That's what she's saying with that honorific. Like, I'm going to be exceptional. Everybody else calls you Miss. That's what Kun really means. It's like Miss.
Meanwhile, Big Nueng is like, you just walked in. This random person just walked in.
This
here.
doesn't
like,
make any sense.
Than everyone else.
The audacity of this conversation. Exactly. That's why she's staring at her. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Nobody calls her that. Nobody. That's why Little Nueng is doing it. She's like, I'm going to be special to you, is what she's saying. And Big Nueng like coldly stares back at Little Nueng because like, who the hell is this kid? And who does she think she is? Like, the audacity of this bitch. But then after a second, if you notice, Big Nueng's eyes start fluttering because like, damn, the confidence. And like, to me, the eyes, the smile, that's all great. But Big Nueng's real attraction to her was always that audacity and the confidence that she has of being like, I'm going to be special to you. It's basically what she's saying by using this honorific. She's like, we just met, but I want to be close to you. And I'm telling you that right now. And Big Nueng's
because
like,
someone's trying for her, which no one's ever done. We've talked about this before, but yeah, like in here, like she tries to look away from Little Nueng, but it doesn't even work for her because like she needs a small glance before she fully goes back to the drawing.
Yeah, and like here's this person who like wants so desperately to be close to her, and this person has no idea who Big Nueng really is. And that's the other thing. Like everybody, like we've said a million times, like all the people that want to get close to her always had agendas, and like here's this girl who shows up out of nowhere and is like, who are you? Sister. Like she doesn't know anything about her. She's like, I don't know how old you are. I don't even care. She's like, but we're gonna be close. I'm just letting you know that right now. Like, and Big Nueng's like, the confidence, first of all. And she wants to know me and doesn't know who I am, which is good. So again, like we're seeing this from Little Nueng's point of view, but you can see that the attraction is mutual from the first interaction for like different reasons, right? And it was just like more subconscious for Big Nueng and more like conscious for Little Nueng. Okay. And it, like, to me, it's like in the drawing, you see that like, oh, the attraction's kind of there, but like, I think it peaks with this interaction where Big Nueng's like the confidence. Okay. That was what did it for her, I think, personally. Because she said it to Tham at one point. She's like, I like confident people. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously that is definitely your type. All right, so then we kind of like pull back a bit and see like the drawing thing keeps going on, and then little Nung in the future says to Big Nueng, she's like, did you know it took me many days to gather the courage to talk to you? So that's why I'm saying that this is their first interaction, not the first time little Nung saw Big Nueng, because like she probably saw her, had the heart popping moment, and then was like, oh, and then like that's intimidating. So she like did what you said. You stare for a bit and then leave. And then she probably kept coming back and seeing Big Nueng. And she probably waited for this moment because Big Nueng was by herself drawing and then was like, I'm going to approach her now. And nobody else is here. So that's probably the other reason it took a couple of days. So Big Nueng essentially asks Little Nueng, like, how did you fall in love with me so quickly? Like, we barely knew each other. Because, like, that's the weird part, too. She's like, I just met you. What? Like, this is weird. Like, this is fast, right? And Little Nueng says, I love you in my own way. Like, basically, like, it's one of those things where she's like, I can't really explain it. It just, she knew what it was. She recognized the feeling, understood the feeling, and it never changed for her. So she's like, I just did. And that's just the way I love you. That's just the way that it is. And like, it never changed for me. And I do love this line because like people experience love and feelings in different ways and express them differently. And that's real. And so I like that Little Nueng is like, this is just how I love you. You love me in your way. And that's just the way that it is. And, you know, we see that throughout the show. And just because people experience and express love differently doesn't mean a relationship can't work. So that's another thing I kind of got out of this show by like looking at this particular relationship. And what really mattered was them understanding what their feelings mean and like communicating those things to each other. And it was just, you know, very clear even in this interaction that Little Nueng was the type of person that at a young age was very in tune with her own feelings, which like, you know, not a lot of people are. So that made her a unique person and very suited for like an older person who like needed to figure out their feelings and that kind of stuff. And kind of back to this, Little Nueng continues like, you know, the way I loved you has never changed since that very first day, which like, again, Cardigan by Taylor Swift is a perfect song for her because like Little Nueng knew everything when she was young and she did. And we see all that evidence throughout the show. And then Little Nueng asked Big Nueng back. She's like, well, what about you? Why did you fall in love with me? And Big Nueng, dead ass, looks at her and is like, how can you ask me that? Like, after all we've been through, after this whole show, how can you ask me that question? Because, like, truly, Little Nueng, you've been on the journey with her and you know the whole story, girl. We just went through it, okay?
She just wants to hear it again.
I know
She's like, tell me a bedtime story. Tell me why you love me.
Right, exactly. Little Nueng likes words of affirmation. I'm confident. And in classic Big Nueng fashion, in 20 years, she has not changed one bit. She answers by not answering, and instead kisses Little Nueng's forehead. And then Little Nueng, it's been 20 years. She's still the same greedy mouse she's always been, and she's like, another cookie, please. And she asks.
It's nice that the show gave us one last cookie with this. And that the Little Nueng cookie game continues into the future, too. It's like, she will always want cookies.
You know, and then when she asks Big Nueng, the enabler, gives her the second cookie. And then this bitch asks for a third. Nothing has changed. I do love that about that. She's like, I'll have another. And another. And another. Oh my god. It's so funny. So eventually Big Nueng runs out of cookies and then they cuddle and watch the ocean and just like exist happily with each other. And overall, like I really appreciate this time jump in general, which shows not only that their relationship worked out, but in subtle ways it does show that like they still managed to grow as people and grow as a couple like overall this time. And it just strengthened everything between the two of them. So I really like that.
They're just, I love them. They're very, 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 very cute.
They are.
And, like, they didn't change how they show affection. Like, they're still who they were, but they're more comfortable and secure. Which is the quest of this entire show.
Yeah, literally.
Also, I just want to compliment CEO Juan because this flash forward is a great addition to the show.
I agree. It was great. This was not in the novel at all. The novel just kind of ends before any of the time jumps and then has a bunch of weird sex scenes, and that's kind of the end.
Really? That's how it ends?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glad that we got to see.
Oh no, this is way better. This is way better. The book's wild. The show makes a lot more sense, personally.
Great show.
Great show. And then we get to the final scene. All right, so the future Nuengs are playing in the ocean, just like they did the very first time the Nuengs ever went to the ocean together. Remember, the first time they go, Nueng's like, let's go play in the ocean. Big Nueng's like, nah, you go play in the ocean. Nueng's like, no, we're going together. And she pulls her out in the ocean, and they just like twirl around and play and do like a splash fight thing. And like Big Nueng smiles for the first time. Yeah, apparently they do that again. They keep doing that over the years, which is very, very cute. So here they are, like, you know, like twirling each other and like having fun on the beach.
Because that's, I mean, like that's when you get to see Big Nueng like fully free. Like she is free now in the future, but like with little Nueng on the beach, like all care goes away. It is just the two of them. But quick side note plug, when we watched this for the first time, our reaction video, I don't know if it was on the YouTube version or not, but we got to this section and there was no subtitles. So the two of us were just like guessing what was being said on top of the narration. And then, so if you want to see us be confused then and then figure out that the subtitles were during the credits, go check that out because it is pretty funny.
Yeah, the timestamps were a little off on YouTube, so like, yeah, it was a ride for the first time. Okay. Okay, so while the future Nuengs are like playing in the ocean and having fun, present Big Nueng, the narrator, so Faye, is telling us what's going on. And she says, this is where we get the, what does the title of this show mean? And she says, little Nueng is the one who fills the gap in my heart. I can say it now that we will be together forever. And like in the book, it's a little bit more explicit where it says like, I guess like there is a blankness in Big Nueng, which was like the lack of emotions, not emotions, but like the lack of love, the feeling of love. And like she started to feel that with little Nueng and then eventually recognized what it meant. And that's what made her whole. Hence like why she said, you complete my life. Like that scene, that was the like she fills the blankness. Fill in the blank with love is what it means. So like again, an even bigger gap would have made sense. Like she's the one that fills the gap.
Yeah, so like I do like that they use the word gap because
I agree.
it kind of brings the universe together. But they really should have said blank space. Like the show really could have been called an even.
An even bigger gap. I think it makes sense. I'm sticking with that. That was the better
especially with this line. Like that would have really brought the universe together.
Okay. But okay, so Big Nueng is being all sobby and shit. And to me, okay, it sounds like it's a voiceover. And voiceovers usually, this is why I think this is fucking hilarious. Voiceovers are usually an inner monologue. Okay, so like when you're thinking something, okay, like by yourself, okay? And so what happens next is shit that happens in comedies, okay, to play with the inner monologue. So Big Nueng is being like, little Nueng is the one who makes me complete, and now I can say it like confidently, we will be together forever. And then little Nueng takes over the narrating.
Which you just made me think about this more. Why?
It's funny because it's funny because it's just funny. And the little one cuts in, which is like somebody else cutting into your brain to say something, and she says, "Finally, you said it." Which is so funny because it's supposed to be a monologue. Like, usually it's a monologue. So anyway, little Nueng starts teasing Big Nueng in the monologue, and Big Nueng starts grumbling, and she's like, "Nueng, don't tease me." She's like, "This is a serious moment I'm having, monologuing about how I feel about you."
Is it like she's trying to write a book and she's like speaking into it to type? Because she doesn't feel like typing it.
It could be. So funny. So then they start arguing, which is so funny, and they're like playful way. And little Nueng's like, "Okay, I won't tease you, but you did say it, and like I heard it, okay." And then Big Nueng,
like, when you're listening to this for the first time without subtitles and you're hearing the tone, you're like, "What is happening?"
It's so funny. So like, I love Little Nueng's like, fine, but like you said it, like no takesy backsies, and then Big Nueng immediately is like, okay, yeah, I said it. Like you're right, I said it. And Little Nueng's like, no, going back on your promises, right? And Big Nueng's like, I won't. Because, like, again, like, that's been a thing back and forth. And Big Nueng says something, and then 3 seconds later, it's like, Big Nueng, what the hell? So Little Nueng's like, okay, but you have to, like, super promise. I know you gave me your ring. We did the pinky promise, but, like, promise me again. Big Nueng's like, okay. And then we get these another beautiful, this is like the episode of beautiful transitions, okay? We'll just say that. Then we transition from like the 20-year in the future Nuengs on the beach frolicking about to the present day Nuengs after the engagement frolicking on the beach. And like the shots of them are just gorgeous. The way they line this up so that you have your rule of thirds going on with like the ocean creating like this beautiful line through the through the frame to like draw the eye, and then the way they have their reflection on the shore that's wet. Like, I don't know how long it took for them to like set this shot up, but it's so beautiful the way they did it for both of them.
Also, with the way the sun is, they had to have gotten that perfect.
Right.
They had like one shot to take this.
Correct. This had to be one shot. I'm very confident both couples were here on the same day because there's like a BTS of them together, like these 4 women. Because like the sun is exactly the same, so like they had to probably do both of them. Be like, you go, you go, then you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really hard to do.
So hard. Like this was incredibly difficult, and like it paid off. It was. I just love it. I love the way they set up these shots. They're so beautiful for like using your scenery to like really make the frame. Like if this was a photo, like I took photography, so I know more photography language than like filming language, but like, oh my God, the shots are so beautiful. The way they just use that space. It's so beautiful and like romantic.
Everything you're saying applies to videography too.
Ugh, so beautiful. Anyway. And then it ends with a kiss from the Nuengs and Big Nueng saying, I love you, and Little Nueng saying, I love you too. I love you the most. And what I find really funny is that this is Big Nueng's story, but Little Nueng gets the last line, which I find really funny.
Theora, of course she does. She's a mastermind.
I know. God damn. She absolutely, it's just really funny that Little Nueng has the last line. All right, and then the 2 of them walk away from the ocean hand in hand, just about to go embark on their lives together, and then it fades to black. And blank ends.
Oh my God, they are.
It ends. Or does it?
Does it?
Does it? Okay, like we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, we will have at least one more blank episode where we will put out our interview with Monasorn, who gave us more behind the scenes stuff about this scene, was one of them, but like the scenes that were added specifically into the show and kind of like why, so you can learn a little bit more about that and like, you know, the thought process behind the adaptation. Also, just very special stuff. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be out in like a month or so after we like get all the pieces together for it, because it's a little bit more complex than our normal episodes. So stay tuned for that. Like we mentioned, we will be back whenever fayeyoko do whatever the hell it is next, and as long as we have access to it to watch whatever it is, we'll be back. We'll be back for that because, duh.
Yes.
And, yeah. So if you have suggestions for another show you would like us to do in this format, let us know. Because if you've been listening, you're the type of audience member that wants that. So just let us know.
True. If you're still here,
you're still here.
After all these episodes, all this time,
tell us.
What do you want to hear?
What do you want next? Yeah.
For in-depth, this'll...
Yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning, we will be doing a Heartstopper in-depth like this. We're trying to pick our next Thai girl love show to do like this. Our personal top contenders are Reverse for You and Pluto at the moment. But it will take like a couple months for Heartstopper to come out because that show is amazing. First of all, and like second of all, like it's so good. Go watch it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful. If you like 23.5, like Heartstopper, it's basically 23.5 is Heartstopper. It's so beautiful. All kinds of representation in that show. It's really, really beautiful. There's a lot going on. But like we will be a bunch of shows came out that we do want to cover, but like obviously this takes months. I can't remember when we started blank. It takes months to cover one of these shows.
July.
Yeah, like it takes like half a year or sometimes 4 months at least.
Yes.
5.
No, it's close to half a year. So
Yeah.
we could, because we started Gap in December of last year.
It was, but we finished in February. Gap was faster. Gap was 4 months.
It was, yeah, faster as in 4 months.
Well, it's 12 episodes, and we did 10 episodes for Gap. Blank was more. So yeah, it takes us a long time. So like we obviously cannot cover everything because we just don't have time, and so many things keep coming out. So what we think we're going to end up doing is covering some shows, or like most shows realistically, kind of the way we did the Why We Love Blank episode with our friend Natasha. We're going to do it kind of like that, where we do more of a review of why we like the show. We can't get into everything scene by scene, but kind of talk about like why we liked it, the scenes that stuck out to us, acting choices that we liked, things like that, in a more condensed format. That way we can like highlight more shows, but we want,
and we're not telling you literally every detail of what's happening on screen.
Yeah, we just can't, because it would just take too long. We wouldn't be able to cover everything. So help us pick the next show that you would like us to see more like Blank. That way we know where to focus our time, but we will in some capacity cover all the other shows we're watching so that you guys can hear our thoughts on it, not just a reaction video format.
Yeah.
So just to kind of let you know, that's what we have planned. But thank you for being here with us. It's been really, really fun. You guys have been a lovely fandom, and we appreciate all of your comments, and it's been really lovely.
It makes us very happy when the fandom is really nice.
Not always the case. So thank you for being a nice fandom.
We love you.
We do. All right. So final thoughts time. So Taylor Swift songs. What do you got?
All right. So You Are in Love is when Big Nueng finally realizes that she is in love with Little Nueng.
That's a good one.
And now I have picked out lyrics for this one. So Call It What You Want is 100% from Little Nueng's point of view. So we're going to just read a few lyrics. I promise it won't take too long. I'll read fast. So, my castle crumbled overnight. I brought a knife to a gunfight. They took the crown, but it's all right. All the liars are calling me one. No, okay, so like the line doesn't count, but well, actually, nobody's heard from me for months. I'm doing better than I ever was. So basically, everything went to shit, and Little Nueng went to Big Nueng's, and she's happier than ever, but they're trying to knock her down.
Yep.
Okay, then all my flowers, all my flowers grew back as thorns, windows boarded up after the storm. So basically, now Little Nueng's just pissed at
as she should be.
Like, yes, and she finally was just like, no, I'm not doing that shit. So he built a fire to keep me warm because, you know, Big Nueng would do anything for her.
Absolutely.
All the drama queens taking swings, so that's the grandmother. All the jokers dressing up as kings because
Jet.
And they fade to nothing when I look at him. So yes, Big Nueng has a habit of making Little Nueng feel like nothing else matters. And then lastly in the song, I want to wear his initial on a chain round my neck. Chain round my neck. This is really hard not to sing. Not because he owns me, but because he really knows me, which is more than they can say.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And this is the thing. I was like, yes, this is her song. Like, they can't say that. And I recall late November holding my breath. Slowly I said, you don't need to save me, but would you run away with me? Which is basically what she's been asking too. Literally the whole time. I mean, how did the show open? I'm running away from my grandmother. Yeah. I mean, so yeah. It's a great song from Little Nueng's perspective.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. The song I have is for both of them. It's But Daddy, I Love Him. And I think the song encapsulates both of them really perfectly. And it like switches lyrics kind of like halfway through. So it starts with, I will do this as quickly as I possibly can. So it starts with, I forget how the West was won. I forget if this was ever fun. I just learned these people only raise you to cage you. So this is like Little Nung and her family. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like, and the West is this is American lyrics. So like the winning of the West was like a colonization thing. And it was like seen as this great heroic thing that Americans did. But it's like, was this really that great, this traditional thing we're talking about? Because like we're killing people and slaughtering indigenous people. Like what the hell? Was this fun? As fun as you is the past really worth like preserving? Okay, is basically what it's saying. Was this a song about like breaking a tradition and like being a rebel a bit? So being raised, people raising you to cage you, that was Little Nung's life, right? She was literally living in a cage by her grandmother because like tradition states she has to be a good girl and not walk down her mother's path, right? So like traditional household, right? So then Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best. So Sarah and Hannah, those are very like Christian names of like good girls and biblical names and stuff like that in their Sunday best, which is like getting ready for church. And Sunday best is a way to like peacock basically to other people, Christians, that like, oh, I'm a good person.
You have like, you have church clothes, like fancy
exactly.
Church clothes. You only wear it to church.
But why do you have church clothes? It's really to peacock in front of other people. Okay, it's not really about God. It's about peacocking in front of other people. Okay, so it's a show. Okay, this traditionalism is a big show. And the next line, clutching their pearls, sighing, what a mess. I just learned these people try to save you because they hate you. Okay, so that was Little Nung's childhood, right? The pearl clutching that the grandmother kept doing. She's like, who's this vagrant you're hanging out with? Which is Big Nueng, like an actual good person. The pearl clutching that happened there. And it's like, why was she doing that? Because, you know, the grandmother saw Pinga in Little Nung and was like, I have to stamp this out. So it's like, they cage you because they hate who you are and they're trying to force you in a box. That was Little Nung's whole childhood. Okay. And the next line, too high a horse for a simple girl to rise above it. Okay. So meaning like they set the bar so high. Okay. And Little Nung's like, I don't want to like change who I am to climb this. Okay. Or meet this expectation you have from me. It's too high. Okay. And a high horse is like, you know, I'm above, you know, I'm better than everybody else. And she's like, no, I don't fit this. Okay. Then the next line, they slammed the door on my whole world. The one thing I wanted. That was blank the series. Okay. That was her family. Trying to take away the one thing Little Nung ever wanted. First of all, was her freedom was the thing she wanted. And in Big Nueng, she found how to get the freedom, basically. But Big Nueng is the thing that she wants more than anything else. Then we get to the chorus, okay? And we have to switch some pronouns here, okay, for it to work. But it still works, okay? So the chorus is, now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned. Okay, why does this matter? Okay, remember, Sunday best. Okay, a proper young lady's covered up. So dress unbuttoned is a form of rebellion with the clothes, okay? And it's a way of expressing yourself being free, uninhibited. That's what the person in the that's what Taylor's actually saying in this song. So
you just made me think about something for later, and I'll tell you later.
Okay. So now running with my dress unbuttoned. Okay. Screaming, but daddy, I love him. Okay, this Little Nung's been saying I love you since day one. Okay. Okay, this part. It's screaming, but daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby. Okay, think about this. Okay, these lines, okay? Because, like, what is Little Nung's entire family afraid of? Her getting pregnant, okay, right? So this is something Little Nung would absolutely do. Be like, no, pretend. Okay, I'm having her baby, whatever. And then she's like, no, I'm not, but you should see your face. Because what happens? They see Big Nueng and they're like, oh my God, you're dating? We have to get you a man. Like, they freak out. Like, that's basically what's happening. And they're like, you and this guy, family freak out, right? And then she's like, I'm not, but look at your faces. You think I'm doing something bad when I'm not. I'm just love this person. Like, that's basically her relationship with Big Nueng, right? Okay, and then I'm telling him to floor it to the fences. So floor it is like step on the gas pedal, let's run away, get the hell out of here. Because always she's like, Big Nueng, I'm running away from home. And Big Nueng's like, who are you? What do you mean? Okay.
How'd you get here?
Right, okay. And then Little Nung, no, I'm not coming to my senses. So like, don't try and talk me out of this. I know he's crazy, but he's the one that I want. Not that Big Nueng's crazy. I think in the Family Guy's eyes, Big Nueng is a crazy choice for her. And they're like, what? The age gap, all the things, all the problems, right? And she's like, no, she's the one that I want. Like, fuck it. Then we run away. If they can't accept us, we just run away. I'm not going to change my mind. I knew everything when I was young, right? That's Little Nung, okay? Okay. Okay, then we switch to Big Nueng. Okay, this part's Big Nueng's point of view. So, right, because does this sound like Big Nueng? Dutiful daughter, all my plans were laid. Tendrils tucked into a woven braid. So Big Nueng, the royalty, was raised to be the next grandmam, right? She was the eldest daughter, put on the pedestal. She was raised to follow what her grandmother said. All her plans were laid. All right. Tendrils tucked into a woven braid, meaning like, and she had all the presentation down. She looked the part, all that kind of stuff. Growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all. So like Big Nueng also was in a gilded cage the way that Little Nueng was, right? And she wasn't really allowed to grow up. Hence why she acted like a child half the time. And then what happens? Then she meets Little Nueng. Okay, so he was chaos. He was revelry. Is that not Little Nueng? She's chaos.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect. So far, man, Theora, this is really a perfect song. Like it's showing that
also perfect. Okay,
like that they're basically the same. It's the show.
It's the show, right? She was chaos. I was going to change the pronouns. She was chaos. She was revelry. Bedroom eyes. This is Little Nueng. Bedroom eyes like a remedy, right? Saw her eyes. That was it. Soon enough, okay, the elders have convened down at the city hall. Okay, so then everybody finds out about their relationship, right? So this is Little Nueng's family. They convene, okay, at grandmother's house and say, stay away from her. Okay, stay away from her. The saboteurs protested too much. Okay, so this was like the family freaking out. Lord knows the words we never heard, just screeching tires and true love. So like basically like, but we didn't really take them seriously. Okay. Like they were saying shit at us, but like deep down we knew how we felt. Right. So this is Big Nueng's perspective. So like, yes, she heard the family and stuff, but like she did believe that they could make it through. Right. That was the 2-3 year gambit of being in America. Okay. All right. Then we go back to the chorus and I'll just kind of skip that. So we'll go to that was the dress and button thing. Okay, so let's go to the next one. I'll tell you something right now. This is still Big Nueng. I'll tell you something right now. This is the accident, okay, when she's talking to the family. I'll tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down. Okay, because then listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning.
I love that line.
Because, yeah, that's Big Nueng when she had it with the family, okay? And she's telling them off in the hospital. And then this is the most Big Nueng line to me. I'll tell you something about my good name, because she's the princess, right? Because remember Chet at the hospital is like, well, how could you? You're perfect. What the hell? And then this is Big Nueng. I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empaths' clothing. What a fucking line that is, first of all. But that's Big Nueng. She's like, I don't care about, she's like, my name is mine. And when she got into the fight with like the grandmother, and the grandmother's like, wow, Nueng, is this because you never listened to your own grandmother and this and that? And on the phone when Little Nueng's crying after the suicide ideation. Oh my gosh,
that weird scene.
That weird fucking scene. And Big Nueng is like, this has nothing to do with my grandmother. These are my choices. This is my life, right? This is a very Big Nueng line where it's like, this is my life, my choice. Like, that's basically the theme of the song, honestly. And that's very Big Nueng, right? To tell off all these people. And then I love the line, I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empath clothing. Because what is the family doing? They're trying to be the pious ones here. They're trying to be like, we're doing this for her, like for the good of Little Nueng. And she's like, meanwhile, she's having suicide ideation. So vipers, like they're the people poisoning her. Meanwhile, they're preaching it's for your own good. Like that's very Christian. This is Christian trauma.
Nothing against the religion.
No, nothing against the religion. That's from the language of the song. Like that's what it reads to me. It's like, but people are like this in general outside of the context of that. It's just by the language of the song. Yeah. I have Christian trauma. So I can relate. But in the context of the show, like that's Big Nueng, right? She's like, you guys don't realize you're the ones poisoning her, even though you're professing that you're not. You're doing this for her best interest, right? And then we get to like an inner monologue from the narrator in the song, but I think this is Little Nueng where it's God save the most judgmental creeps who say they want what's best for me, sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never say. I think that's Chet. He's like, you can say whatever the hell you want, but I'm not listening to a goddamn thing that you're saying. Which is really
because he always does it when Big Nueng's around too.
Right.
So she's always staring at Big Nueng. Definitely not looking at him.
Okay. Thinking it could change the beat of my heart when he touches me, or counteract the chemistry, undo the destiny. Okay, so that's basically it. It's like, you guys can say whatever the hell you want, but at the end of the day, like, their love endured, and both of them knew that. Okay? And then, you ain't gotta pray for me and my wild boy, and all this wild joy. If all you want is gray for me, then it's just white noise. This is my choice. Like, again, like it's basically a song about like them wanting to put them in a box and be like, no, you can only be with a man. You can't be with Big Nueng. It can't be my ex-fiance, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, these are our choices, kind of thing. Like, it's not about you, it's about us. Okay, then it like kind of concludes where it says, there's a lot of people in town that I bestow upon my fakest smiles. Little Nueng. Scandal does funny things to Pride, Little Nueng's grandmother. Brings lovers closer. So like Big Nueng and Little Nueng, you see in the end, the time jump, they're even closer now because they went through hell together and survived it. We came back when the heat died down. So this is after like the coma. Went to my parents and they came around. All the wine moms are still holding out, but it's over. So, like, again, I'm sure there's still people who don't understand their relationship, never will judge them at first sight, but, like, they don't care. Like, the big battle's won for the two of them. Now I'm dancing in my dress in the sun, and even my daddy just loves him. So, like, Chet does end up accepting Nueng, because it's from Little Nueng's point of view. I'm his lady. And oh my God, you should see your faces. Because yeah, we're thrilled for you guys, you know. Time doesn't it give some perspective? So they time jump and like, no, I love this part where they're like, no, you can't come to the wedding. Like, again, so eventually people are gonna come around, but it's like they're at the point where they're like, I'm not dealing with toxic shit. We're just gonna like live our lives and be happy. And like that's basically the end of the song, kind of repeats the chorus, but like that's very much them, where it's like you had two women you tried to put in a box. They rebelled against the box, found each other. And then despite all the hate they received from people who like allegedly had their best interests in mind, like that actually caused problems in the relationship, they ended up making it through to the end. And I don't think they had a wedding with anybody there. I think it was just them on the beach being like, this is it. We're married now. That was it. It's just us together. No, nobody can come. This is for us. It's not for show. It's not for anybody else. Like, this is for us. And that's kind of like the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really perfect.
That's really perfect. But Daddy, I Love Him. It's a good song. All right.
Okay, well.
We've made it to our very last.
We made it to the end.
Very last Big Gay Energy Award.
Ah, shit.
Big Gay Energy Award.
Big Gay Energy Award. I kind of want to give it to the
Sam and Mon. For Mon being like, you're dead.
Oh, you're dead?
What an asshole. All right, Sam and Mon. I like that. I want to give it to Big Nueng for doing the proposal.
That's the other one I was going to.
Because that had to be so hard for her. And she still did it. And she did such a good job. And it was very cute. And like Little Nueng deserved that for all the bullshit she went. Again, the Nueng, Sam, who knows about songs? Jury's out on song. But like their partners go through it. They go through it.
Where is Ice right now?
If Mon wants to kill Sam in a video game, everyone, she earned it. She can. Okay, she can. Sam put her through hell.
Yes.
Yes. Go watch
So many tears.
So much. She put her through hell. All right.
It began and ended with tears.
Which by the way, if you guys haven't watched Gap and you want to, we did cover Gap like this. So you can listen to our Gap episodes. Our friend Cole is there. But we did it the same way, basically. You see where all the gym lore started. Where the gym loving started.
It started why pretty early. Why do we like gym so much?
Go listen to those episodes. You'll see why we love gym.
Okay, but we've come to the actual end of blank. It took a while to get here. But if you made it this far in the episode, and us covering it, we want to know. So this is a secret word that you should be using. You can choose to. You have free will. That we would like to challenge you to use in a comment or a review. Yeah. So your secret word today is hootenanny.
Good luck with that.
But I also have a bonus task for you. So, all right, hold on. Let me ask you the question first. I want everybody to guess how many pages our notes ended up being for this entire series. So, just for some information, we keep them all in the same doc. So it's from the very first episode from the last. And here's some more stats. So if it helps, we did 20 episodes to cover this show. And this is only discussions, not reactions or the
interview.
Appreciation episode.
Or the appreciation
interview. So this is just us like recapping and discussing the show. The runtime. Okay, so now it's important to note that in the notes, we don't write like literally everything we say. It's just to help us remember. We do write a lot, but like we are like having a conversation.
Also, we have screenshots and photos in there, so that adds to like the length as well.
Yeah. But the runtime for what we talked for the first 19, no, I can add it. Okay. So the runtime approximately for our coverage is 2 days, 7 hours, 30 minutes, and 51 seconds. Or roughly, I'm doing math, 55 and a half hours.
It's pretty good, guys.
It's a long time. So kudos to you if you've watched every single minute of line coverage.
You can listen to us talk about blank for literal days.
Okay, that's just your... Okay. Yeah, so basically, I apologize. Can you cut that little pause out? Okay, yes. So how many pages were our notes from beginning to end? Let us know in a comment. If you're listening or watching on Spotify, you can leave a comment there. If you're listening somewhere else or you can't leave a comment, just message us on social media. What is your guess? And whoever guesses the exact number or closest will send you a t-shirt.
Yeah. Because you earned it if you can figure that out.
It's insane.
We'll let you choose the t-shirt too.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. You don't have to have our logo. You can choose anything from our...
We have Thai Girl Love
we do have Thai Girl Love merch. So go check it out. I've been working on updating the store. We also have holiday merch. It's still the holidays. But for next year too. I mean, really, the holidays are all year long.
I know.
Yeah. But we have lots of stuff there.
Yeah.
But I hope you all enjoyed coming on this ride with us.
Yeah. Honestly, it's one of my favorite shows ever now. Even more so that we've like dissected it and then heard from the screenwriter. And like the more I learn about it, the more I really appreciate everything that went into making the show what it was. Like, it's so well done. And I really love the story itself. I love it. It's still up here. It's like to me, it's the bar that everybody else has to like reach is like blank is still number one. It is. For me. That's my opinion.
No, it's a great show.
It's a great show.
Episode 4 really just solidified it for me.
You're never ready. You're never ready for that episode.
I feel very...
never ready.
It feels special that I do have my first reaction on camera. Like, that's why I kind of like that we do those. Because you're not ready.
You're never ready. There is no preparing you for that. You have to experience it. You're never ready.
It's like something else. Like, I wish I had my reaction to The Good Place. Because I can never relive, like, watching it for the first time. But that way you could, yeah. So, that was a tangent. I need to stop because my medicine wore off. So.
All right.
Yeah.
That means it's time to sign off. So, again, thank you for coming along on the journey. Leave the guesses in the comment for all the things and your feedback for, like, what you want us to do next. Just know it'll be several months probably before we upload our next, like, in-depth recap, like Thai Girl Love in-depth recap. Because, like we said, we're doing Heartstopper and we've got a bunch of other stuff we're going to sprinkle out until we can, like, really, like, focus on the next thing. So it might be a couple months. So, like, follow us for updates. Join our Discord to talk to us. But we will be back to do something else. So So just let us know what you want to listen to. And until next time, keep hydrating for Fi, because just always, okay? And Haley Kyoko, aka Let's Meet Jesus.
And gay it up all over the place.
I'll see you next time. Bye! And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube.
Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing super gay content.